If he dies, he dies. Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, this is Modern Escapism. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Oodles. Like the soap opera Emmerdale, I'm Northern and I should have ended decades ago. Joining me today, the immortal and undying, it's Biggie.
Yeah.
The omnipotent, omnipresent and everlong Candy.
Oh, I like that. Official new title.
Mm-hmm. And forever in our hearts and beyond this realm of reality, it's Gadget.
I am omniscient. Yes, I'm everywhere.
Yes. And Stig, unfortunately, will not be joining us today because he's in Turkey getting a hair transplant. He'll be back soon enough. He has.
I fucking hate you for that.
He video called us earlier from the bed. With loads of pins in his head, and he's saying, "I'm doing fine, guys. So speedy recovery, Stig, and we'll see you soon with your new haircut. I can't wait to see you."
Oh, he's gonna fucking kill you.
Well, that's what happens when you miss a show. True. Tonight's show, by the way, it'll be a short and concise show because Stig's not here. It'll be down to the knuckle podcasting. At about 50 minutes, I reckon that's when we'll end it tonight. It's wishful thinking.
That's wishful thinking. I've seen the new script.
Yes. We'll talk about what we've done this week in the Nexus, then on to the main topic in which we discuss which ongoing media properties should have been laid to rest many moons ago, or just something that lasted too long anyway. Then, for patrons, we'll be in the Green Moon. But before all that, it's time for Biggie's Breaking News.
You may already know, but he doesn't, because it's time for Biggie's Breaking News.
The news is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been poured over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
And speaking of Agent Smith, Sony is under fire for insinuating in patents that it makes superior products to its rivals. Game Rant discovered pretty standard documentation for a universal controller-like device in which it referred to rival home entertainment systems from different, albeit inferior, manufacturers. The paper itself doesn't specifically mention any other platform holders by name, but it acknowledges consoles like PS4 and PS3 earlier in its sentence, so it's probably safe to assume who they're actually aiming it at. This made a patent expert, Florian Mueller, go into a furor, where he pointed out in a strongly worded blog that this is far from the first time the Japanese company has used this terminology and described it as childish, unprofessional, and even stupid.
He's pretty stupid.
Yeah.
It's pretty stupid.
It's only been pretty arrogant for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly think they can't keep just resting on that name. You know what I mean? The PlayStation can't outlast... Because I think that's why it sells, personally. It's the name. You know, it's good brand recognition.
Yeah.
It's like someone telling me the other week that Bing's just as good as Google. I'm not going to use it though, am I? Because Google's the brand.
Yeah, nobody Bings anything.
No, exactly. I think that's what it is. I think I'd love to find out some stats, but I reckon, like on face value, the PlayStation is a more recognizable brand than Xbox.
Was this
There's
in
a
relation
quality
to
that goes with it.
Did you say this was in relation to their controllers?
It just mentioned a universal controller-like device.
Right.
It wasn't very specific about what it was aiming at.
Yeah, most of their patents are like that. It's just some weird concept of the technology that might never get made.
Yeah, exactly. They've got loads, haven't they?
Yeah, someone's had the idea so that if someone else makes it, they can go, pay us money.
Yeah. Let's all remember the PS3 era when they couldn't have Rumble because they didn't own the rights to having Rumble for a little bit. Remember that?
And also they redesigned the controller at the last minute because that big banana-looking thing that they originally had turned out to be an ergonomic nightmare.
Yeah.
So they took a fucking DualShock 2, painted it black, and then made it so light it was practically a toy.
It started with the what was it, 6-axis, and it was shite.
Anyone remember playing Lair? You had to fly the dragons with a 6-axis controller. You couldn't use the sticks. It was a fucking nightmare.
Awful. Next.
Well, full disclosure, I didn't put this news bit in. This was from Gadget, but here we go. Senator Kevin Kramer is the latest politician to call out Sony PlayStation over its exclusive gaming deals, adding to the bizarre side drama that you just love hearing about with Microsoft's $69 billion attempt to buy out Activision Blizzard.
I put this in because I just thought it was funny because Sony have been trying so hard to scupper the Microsoft Activision deal that now like American politicians are going, well, what are you doing?
There's no such thing as like an honest company like that. Is when they're so massive like this, it's like you're just as bad as the other. Just let it die, let it happen. Just come on now. I don't want to harm gamers anymore.
He was concerned about Sony's efforts to protect its gaming console business from competition. He has asked Sony to provide unredacted copies of all agreements that provide Sony with the exclusive right to distribute a game developed by an independent publisher. He's also asked for agreements that bar publishers from releasing games on rival subscription or streaming services, of course, like Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass. He also wants to see Sony's internal strategy documents around its 2022 purchase of Destiny maker Bungie.
Yeah, they kind of screwed the pooch by making too much of a racket now. Now the spotlight's on them.
Do you think it's going to get to the point where Microsoft does actually acquire Activision, and where they said before, yeah, we're going to keep Call of Duty on everything, they're going to be like, no, you've kicked up too much of a stink about it now. It's ours.
Too late now.
Yeah,
it's just going to be on Nintendo and Xbox from now on.
So the one thing to counter that with Microsoft and Activision like money, they're not going to cut off like a third of the gaming market. So they're not going to not put it on PlayStation because they enjoy the money. But what they'll probably do is put it on Game Pass where they probably weren't intending to in the first place.
Yes, just to rub it in.
Yeah, just to fuck off Sony.
There's part of me that just loves that petty revenge, though. I really hope they do that.
I do.
It has reached the point where the story's gotten interesting again because it's gotten so fucking bitchy. It's like fucking high school teenagers sniping at each other. It's great.
Well, Phil Spencer was always reaching out to PlayStation, wasn't he? They were always making little comments. You're like, we can all be friends, and not so much anymore.
Yeah. I don't even own an Xbox, but I still want Microsoft to win this. Just to be like, fuck
just
you.
on principle.
Yeah, just be like, fuck you. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're rebels. You know what I mean? Fuck it.
At the next gaming event, I just want Keeley to come on stage and go, Sony! And stick his middle finger up.
He will never do that because he loves Sony.
You've got to remember, Jeff Keighley is a proper star fucker. He's not going to do anything which would stop anybody coming close to him.
He's not even going to mention it ever.
No.
Not in a million years. Definitely not. Next.
Well, speaking of buyouts, according to a Wall Street Journal, publishing giant and former platform holder Sega is on the brink of acquiring Angry Birds maker Rovio for $1 billion.
They do make a lot of money, Rovio, though.
And it's still sickening to see fucking Angry Birds worth $1 billion.
It still sickens me that the original Angry Birds is no longer available. It makes me sad.
Well, yeah, because that means you wouldn't be putting money into the new version of it.
I paid for that, and I can't download it again.
You probably can if you've paid.
I probably could find it if I Google it, or whatever the Play Store version of search for it. I don't know. Yeah. It's so good. Bad Piggies was really good as well. Remember Bad Piggies?
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't play that
so
one.
Good. It's where you create no adverts or anything like that. You'd create little machines and got to the end of the level because the pigs would just circle. They couldn't walk.
Right.
You had to get them from A to B. It's really fucking good.
Like kind of like a reverse Lemmings.
Yeah, kind of, but with cars.
I quite like the Angry Birds Space one just because then you got the kind of the 3-dimensional gravity stuff. That was quite a lot
Angry
of fun.
Birds Space was good.
A lot of ship breaks when I worked in the call centre were wasted using that.
Yeah, but now you put Angry Birds on, it's like, buy this power up just to have a stretchy catapult. Fuck off. Just fuck off. Next.
Hidetaka Miyazaki of Elden Ring fame has been added to the Times 100 most influential people of 2023 list by Neil Druckmann of all people. He said that the massively popular 2022 hit is a great ambassador for video games and the unique feelings they can affect in the player feelings that a passive medium like TV can never recreate. Miyazaki's games make the player feel accomplished and smart, and it's all thanks to this and his team's uncompromising approach. He refuses to over-explain the mechanics of the lore, but rather puts the trust in the player to figure it out on their own.
Well deserved.
He's a genius. He's a genius. And he's the president of that company now as well, isn't he?
He is. And he's bringing back Armored Core this year.
Oh, Daddy. I can't fucking wait, mate. I can't wait.
He knows exactly how to get your wallet noodles. Your sealed, padlocked, tight Yorkshire dad wallet. He knows how to open it.
I have bought his games since Kingsfield. Do you know what I mean? I even got Eternal Ring. I even got.
Miyazaki wasn't working on any of those. It was
no, I know.
Demon Souls was his first one.
Just a big fan of FromSoft in general. Yeah. I've always liked this weird approach to games. Like it's just like it reminds me of like SNES games and stuff. Like figure it out your fucking self. I like that.
Yeah,
I always have.
It's got as well with him being kind of the president of From Software. He's encouraging like new devs to come up, new directors, and he's pushing all these different things out. And he's made a company that was a weird AA developer,
AAA behemoth that it is.
Yeah, like no other company could do an Elden Ring.
I don't think they could. I don't think anyone could touch it. They've got the market locked to the fact where they created a genre and now everyone copies it.
Yeah, and no one's managed to do it as well as they do it.
Nowhere near. Some have got very, very, very close. Like Neo 2's really close to like a Dark Souls game, but it's not.
Isn't
not
Neo
the same.
Like Neo 2's like Dark Souls meets Sekiro, isn't it? It's like the pace of Sekiro with the mechanics of Dark Souls.
Yeah, I think it's stunning. I think Neo 2 is proper underrated, but it's no Sekiro. None of them are. But yeah, well done. I think it's nice that the influence it has got that kind of scope. It's Time magazine, isn't it? So
yeah,
games are big, mate. Get used to it.
Weird Japanese rock solid games are big.
Yeah, get rid of it. It's just I don't like the discourse still like people gatekeeping them and stuff like that. That needs to stop. It really does need to stop, doesn't it? Like
I think
get good.
I think the audience pool is wide enough with Elden Ring that I think there's not as much of the get good stuff now. Mostly people are just trolling in PvP now.
I can't see Armored Core being this ultra hard game. That's just going
to
be empowerment fantasy.
Nah, that's going to bring out a whole new level of arsehole. It's not accurate to the lore of the PS1 game, because it's the sixth game, and they're going, "Oh, this thing that happened in Armored Core 4 on the PS3 that wouldn't happen in this story."
I'll be the judge of that.
You'll be the fucking worst of them.
I'll be the judge of that.
You're such a fucking lawhound for your mech fantasies.
If I'm not roaming around in a jackal in no time, I'll be kicking off. Next.
Nintendo premiered their third trailer for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which has hinted at the game's major plot points and shown off various returning characters. Fans were quick to discuss the return of Ganondorf, and now the iconic character's recognisable voice actors confirmed his involvement in the game, which is, of course, Matthew Mercer.
Yes.
Gadget's boyfriend.
Yes. I don't think he actually needed to confirm.
It is.
In the same way that Andrew Garfield's yours.
100%.
It's Francis Pure's mine.
Yeah, it's the I don't know why he needed to confirm it, because he's got such a recognizable voice. Like as soon as like there was that reveal of him doing a voice line in the trailer, the entire internet went, "Oh my god, Matthew Mercer's in it." But,
do you know what though? Ganondorf's a bit of a daddy in that, isn't he? He looks good.
He's swole. He's been at the gym.
Yeah, and again, that trailer's ruined me.
Because you've had to pay 50 quid now.
I was not on board for this game, and then I watched that trailer and I was like, "Oh shit."
They've actually,
oh shit!
Yeah, the first two trailers are released. I wasn't bothered by this one. It looks great. It made me actually excited for it. I don't know if I'm going to get it on launch because I've got so many other games to play. But
I'll just send mine up when I've done with mine, because I've got games to send back to you anyway.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you'll be done with it within 10 minutes of it being out. So yeah.
Probably.
I haven't played a Zelda since Twilight Princess. I think was the last one. Has Ganondorf been voiced before? I can't remember.
No.
Oh.
There wasn't any voice acting in Skyward Sword, was there, other than just kind of like barks and shouts? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Hey!
Yeah, I think Breath of the Wild
was
Breath of the Wild was the first one where like characters spoke to Link with voices.
Zelda spoke, and then in Hyrule Warriors they were speaking, and then there was a Ganondorf like evil monster go, but not like a human voice. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's cool. I mean, getting a bit of pathos from the actual enemy from the last 35 years would be nice, really, wouldn't it? What drives you, Ganondorf? Why are you doing this? We don't know.
Well, let me tell you.
Exactly, that's what I want. Why were you a pig once? Stuff like that.
Yeah, Calamity Ganon was a bit weird, wasn't
he? Yeah.
I haven't played a Zelda game since A Link to the Past.
There's some absolute Billy bangers in that back catalogue of Zelda games. Stunning examples of adventure games. So it's worth checking out the big hitters. I mean, I really would love a Wind Waker on Switch before it dies. That'd be so nice.
If they haven't done it at this point, I don't think they're going to.
Oh, it's such a shame. I love that game. The isolation on that game is sensational. And I'm into boats lately as well, so why not? Next.
Media Molecule has decided to cease its live service operations for Dreams, the PS4 exclusive. The game itself is staying online, so you can continue to play and create using the tool set. But sadly, that'll be it for uploading creations, I guess.
That's Media Molecule in a nutshell, that, isn't it? They're always like
very clever, and very clever.
They bring out such clever like Little Big Planet and stuff like Tearaway. They did Tearaway as well, didn't they? Loads of weird, strange ones, and then they just disappear after that initial. Because Dreams, I played the opening reactor bombing of Final Fantasy VII on Dreams.
It's got a massive following still, as far as I know. Like, I know when we got the PS5, a lot of people started playing on PS5 and it didn't work half as well. And I think it lost a lot of its player base then, but it still surprises me that they've stopped altogether supporting it, because it does have a massive... And I think, from what I understand, it's really good for students as well that are learning to code, and they haven't quite got Unreal down yet, but they can put their concepts into Dreams and then sort of build from there and just test out ideas and stuff. As a learning thing, I'm surprised.
Was there much of like a in-game marketplace for it though? Because I think the thing is, it's the cost of keeping it going. Like for them people to like pay money for assets.
Oh no, everything was free once you bought the game. That's the problem.
There's your problem. Like the amount of online storage and server space and stuff like that would take for diminishing returns of people playing it. It's too expensive to keep running.
And the game was never full price anyway. It was only like 20 quid.
So that says to me it's less of a decision from Media Molecule, probably more of a decision from Sony to say, we're not going to support you paying for this anymore.
I bet still their next project's going to be something wild.
Well, they always do wild shit.
They do like push the boundary of what game and creation is, and I hope they continue. I really do. I like them. I really love Tearaway on Vita. Fucking that game was so good.
Yeah,
if they did that, I'm sure they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I just looked it up.
Yeah, I thought so. Cool. Well, I wish them well in their next endeavour. Do a music type one. I'd love a music type one. Like a music creation tool, just on PlayStation.
What, like Music 2000?
Do you remember
like Music 2000?
Do you remember Vib Ribbon when you put your music
Vib Ribbon?
and it created the landscape for your characters?
Yeah, Vib Ribbon.
Run around.
I once put Slayer into Vib Ribbon.
Yeah, you don't put metal into it. It was so hard.
No, it's too hard. Oh, yeah.
Tried with Cannibal Corpse once and it ended badly.
Poor rabbit. Next.
Developer American McGee has asked fans to respect his decision to move on after EA killed a third Alice game. He weirdly said, "We are not giving up any more than a person hit by a bus has given up."
I don't suspect he's going to work with EA again.
Did any of you guys like American McGee's Alice, the original one?
First one, yes. Second one, no.
I started it a few times and I don't know.
It's a very 2000 game. It's a
bit edgelordy.
Yeah.
No, not in that respect. Like in the mechanics, like there are some really floaty platforming in it.
I don't know.
It's good though. It's a really good take on Alice.
What else has American McGee done? It must be from Because that's where I know his name from, but it must be from something else to
Did he
put
do
his name
that
on it.
zombie?
He was in.
Zombie ate my neighbor or something. I can't remember what it was called.
Did he do that?
He was a level designer and coder on the original first 2 Doom games.
Oh, so he's got.
He's got previous.
Hmm.
The man's a legend in his own right.
Yeah, so he can put his name on it, like Sid Meier puts his name on stuff, and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not dissing the guy. I haven't seen him do many games since Alice, the original one, the second one.
So I mean, post with id Software, he worked on Ultimate Doom, Doom 2, Quake, and Quake 2.
Ultimate Doom's my favourite, by the way.
Then when he got to EA, then he did American McGee's Alice. Then American McGee's Grimm he did after he left them originally. Then he went back to do Madness Returns.
Yeah.
And then he kind of hasn't done anything else. He's been trying to get...
Sat there.
Well, kind of, because EA owns the intellectual property for Alice, American McGee's Alice.
Yeah.
So he's been trying to get like various versions of Alice games going or films. But yeah, I think he's announced he's retiring.
I wonder how he's been supporting himself. It makes me wonder with these auteurs what they've been doing. What they've been fucking doing. Good savings.
Well, I mean, he obviously has had other jobs. So he did. He was multiplayer director for GoldenEye Rogue Agent.
Congratulations.
No. This is what the one I always forget. He did a really shit one in 2006. Anyone remember Bad Day LA?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you did that. That was
that's
shocking.
It's got his name on it. It's American McGee Presents Bad Day LA.
It was shocking.
One of the worst.
Was that a GTA clone or something?
It was trying to be.
Yeah. PC game.
It's got a Metacritic score of 28.
Oh.
Fuck it, hell.
It was a dreadful, awful, horrible piece of shit of a game.
I wonder if he's just been consulting or something at EA for this long.
Yeah, probably.
Know. Maybe he works in cafeteria or something. I don't know, cleaning toilets. I don't know.
If you haven't seen Bad Day LA, so you need look up a playthrough of it. It's fucking hysterical.
Yeah, I remember that shit. Oh god. Ooh. Next.
The world of film and TV. HBO announced during the Warner Brothers Discovery Max presentation it's given an order for a series of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight, based on, guess who? George R.R. Martin's Duncan Egg fantasy novellas.
Wasn't the Hedge Knight a boss in Salt and Sanctuary?
Hedge Knight's a known thing. It's a thing, isn't it? It's like a knight for hire type thing.
All right.
The story goes, a century before the events of Game of Thrones, 2 unlikely heroes wandered Westeros. A young, naive, but courageous knight, Sir Duncan the Tall, and his diminutive squire, Egg.
Yep.
All I can think of is...
I know who Egg is as well. I know
not Scorched Sheep, the Dungeons & Dragons special that you did with the sequelizers.
That's what I'm thinking of.
It's not that Egg.
It's not that
egg. It's quite an important egg in that lore, in that mythos. Very important. Cool. Congrats. Next.
And they've also started production on the second season of Game of Thrones prequel House of the Dragon, and there's also a planned Jon Snow spin-off. Yay.
Just let Jon Snow be dead, man. We don't need more Jon Snow. Keep with House of the Dragon. That one was
surely
good.
Right. So Jon Snow
cancelled.
At the end, I mean, spoiler alert, at the end, he went off to be the king beyond the wall, right? So is this new series just going to be Snow? Just
I think they're actually calling it Snow.
Oh, but there we go. It's just,
It's going to be Kit Harington looking cool.
having snow in his curly black hair. Oh God! I
doing his bad Yorkshire accent.
He's terrible. I love Game of Thrones, but the snow bits were the worst bits for me.
Have you seen
at the end of season 5?
There's some great behind the scenes clips from Game of Thrones, and Kit Harington always looking miserable because a lot of his scenes were obviously in the snow or in really cold areas.
But he was.
Where some of the other characters obviously went off to, I don't know where it was, Italy or something, you know. He looked really fucking miserable.
I bet he fucking did. Oh, dear.
See, I'm
What's your
sure
laugh?
that I heard that this got cancelled. Like, they filmed a pilot and cancelled it. Have I slipped into some kind of, like, Mandela effect style universe or something?
I don't know. I just saw the poster for Snow.
So, as of the 6th of February this year, yes, there is a Jon Snow show in development. Thrones author Martin wrote on his blog after the news came out. Our working title for the show is Snow.
Yeah. I saw the poster, which is just Jon Snow looking sad.
Snow.
So sad.
Yeah, it's still happening.
Killed his
apparently.
auntie that he was shagging. He's really sad. He's lost his dragon.
And then his mates fucked off to go and do Moonfall.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh,
Become
Can't
best friends
save
with
him from
Patrick
that
Wilson.
one.
yeah. Who wants to be best friends with Patrick Wilson? Nobody.
Not even Patrick Wilson.
I know he listens to this show. I'm sorry, Patrick. We love you. Next.
Speaking of announcements from Max, they've now put forward a Harry Potter series. It will be involving author J.K. Rowling, executive producing. The series will stream worldwide. It'll be a faithful take on her classic Harry Potter books with a new cast.
So it's just like a retelling.
I guess so.
I'm so torn about this. I really wish Stig was here because I want to know what he thinks. But I think there's such strong connotations with certain actors playing certain roles that I
But
think
you can get past it though. How many
I don't-
times
I'm not-
have we watched things coming up and going, oh, I don't want that to happen. I don't want like Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides. I don't think you could have ever beat Kyle MacLachlan, but we did.
yeah. I'm open to it. I just don't want it to kind of.
He's shaking his head.
What are you fucking smoking, Noodles?
Everything.
I think
Fear is the mind killer, mate.
yeah, fucking die in fear. Then the I think the problem is, and I don't have any particular special love for Harry Potter in any way, shape, or form, but a lot of people's only experience of Harry Potter is the films, and the actors are kind of synonymous with it. Like people still refer to Emma Watson as Hermione. You know, like It's
I couldn't
like,
say a name right other day, could I, Candy?
Hermione or something, wasn't it?
And I got Roger's name wrong all the time. Ronald's name wrong all the time.
Yeah, those actors are kind of synonymous with it. It would be like recasting Elijah Wood in Lord of the Rings, you know, to play it.
I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. Yeah, to some people,
I just can't
some
see
people,
Snape.
the films have all they know. They've not read the books.
Yeah,
and stuff
exactly.
like that.
And I know Stig said like there is stuff in the books that the films don't cover, which would probably be good to cover. But
what if it's not for us? What is for the new generation?
Well, it
You know
doesn't.
what I mean?
Yeah, it will be for new generation. The other concern, however, though, is that Joanne herself is attached to it.
That's the problem.
So that is a big problem in this day
Well,
and age.
it's certainly going to put the younger generation off, I think. But
Yeah.
that aside, she's always, say what you want about her. She's very strict on who the actors and everything. She's always insisted that English actors play the English roles and everything. And I wonder if that's still going to happen for this TV show. But all that aside, so they've said it's going to be a 10-year thing. So it's going to be one series based on each book.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's brilliant that they will have an entire series to dedicate to each book. But there is such a giant difference between the first book, which is, however many words, and the fifth book, Order of the Phoenix. Order of the Phoenix is at least 3 times the length of
Fucking hell, how long's
first
film?
book. No, well, not unreasonably long.
The film cuts out a lot of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, fuck all happens in Sorcerer's Stone as well. It's like there's not much happens. Well, there's not much happens in the book itself that they didn't take a lot out of it for the film.
I nearly gave away what I thought about that film then.
No, they're going to have to
I'm
spread
glad
it
to
out
see an
over a
entire
season.
series. I'm glad to see an entire series dedicated to it. It's just, I think it's going to feel a little bit off whack in terms of the timing, maybe.
What should be 24-hour-long episodes for Order of the Phoenix? Yeah.
Well, I wonder if they will do maybe 6 episodes for the first series and then 12 episodes for that particular one.
It'll be a minimum of 7 because you have to have 7 episodes of a season to be eligible for an Emmy, and they want to go for awards.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is that true? I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's why short American series are always 7 episodes, not 6.
Mm.
And British ones don't win because they use the 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're not eligible at all.
Yep. Next.
Actor Matthew Monogamy says apparently Woody Harrelson could be his real brother. The actor suspects.
Favourite story.
The actor suspects that he might have been conceived during a fling between his mother and Harrison's father.
It's so good.
McConaughey says that his mother's remark moved him to investigate his family's history and whether she might have had a fling with Harrison's father in which McConaughey was conceived. We went on to unpack what this new meant, he said, and did some maths and found out that Harrison's dad was on furlough at the same time that my mum and dad were in their second divorce. Then there's possible receipts and places out West Texas where there might have been a gathering or a meeting or a new moment.
Or a shag.
I mean, the thing is, when you put the two of them next to each other, they do kind of look like they could be brothers. They've got the same cheekbones and nose.
So what are they saying?
Same prodigious love for weed.
I read a few different things about this because it fascinated me. One said that the mum was like, "Oh, I think I might have shagged her." Shouldn't the mum have known that she gave birth to someone?
She might have been shagging about a bit, though.
But she knows we're the baby, and if it grows up to be Woody Harrelson. It's different with a dad, isn't it? Because dads can just wander off, as dads are known to do. Trust me, living proof. But
hang on a second. You're breaking your logic here.
So what I'm saying is, I read some reports on it saying that the mother said, "I think I could be a mum." But how can you just think that you could be? You know, if you've had another baby.
I think then that report was written wrong because that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, because how I know of it is that they've got the same dad, not the same mum, obviously.
Yeah,
it's just fucking baffling. I love it though. I hope it turns out to be true. It'd be so cool. Oh, it'd be so cool. And they're like, we're brothers, and then like True Detective, they've got such good chemistry and stuff, and they're good mates, and the kids call each other uncles and stuff. You know what I mean? I think it's cute. Oh. I hope I find out I've got like a long lost famous brother.
Well, that you can sponge money and weed off.
Sponge? I'm fucking rinse the bastard. He'll have no assets left. I'll be like Paulie in Rocky V. Telling you what, he'll have nothing left.
No, you'd be like Homer when he meets Herb.
Yeah, I would. Absolutely destroy him.
Why don't you got your half brothers like Elon Musk or something, and you go out and ruin Tesla?
I would. That's it. Next.
This is the final one, the Weird World Web, and I thought this was even weirder than the last one. So Keanu Reeves has opened up about his alleged marriage to Winona Ryder.
Oh, yeah.
So they apparently believe that they could be married under the eyes of God. He was commenting on their unlikely marriage, which took place on the set of the film Bram Stoker's Dracula in 1992.
Yeah. Real bishop.
Reeves said director Francis Ford Coppola saw the pair get married. The whole thing was for real rather than just a staged wedding. We did a whole take of a marriage ceremony with real priests. Yeah. And whilst explaining what might have happened in an interview with Esquire, Winona has also said the same thing. So basically, they're married.
Yeah. I think it's brilliant. But what's Johnny Depp going to do if he finds out Winona Ryder's married to Keanu Reeves? He's going to be fuming. Because he loves her. They love each other.
Mm.
Okay. What?
They do. They love each other.
No. This whole fucking married under God. I'm not getting into religion. I'm not going to. I can feel the rant starting, but nope. I'm staying out of it. I'm
pretty sure it's not really real until you sign a marriage certificate and the documents and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that's what seals the deal.
I'm staying out of it.
Just in the eyes of the law, that's all I'm saying.
In the eyes of safety. I'll get this
all
cancelled.
Satan himself.
I'll get the fucking. If I start, I'll end up with the poop on the food. I'm sick of hearing from him. Again.
Imagine a Geordie Pope. That'd be the best thing ever. Oh, we're Satan, man. Oh, we're. It's so fucking good. The Geordie Pope. Oh, no. It's so fucking good.
Giving sermons from the balcony while holding a brown ale.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fucking good. Make that happen. Catholicism. Make it happen. I don't know how you elect. I don't know anything about Catholicism. I don't know how you get a pope. Are they born into a pope?
No, there's usually a cardinal or a bishop is voted in by a special council, but they're really kind of like it's like private ballots and all that, and then the votes have to be burned, and then it's if a certain colour of smoke comes out the chimney, that's when a new pope's been anointed. Yeah.
Oh, weirdos. Sorry, I shouldn't judge, but I did. Next. Oh no, we've done that.
We've done that and going on a Geordie Pope fucking run.
Come on, Geordie Pope, bring it on. You heard it here first. It's time for the Nexus. It's time for the Nexus in which we recount what we've been doing all week. Candy, surely you've had the busiest week of all time.
Oh, well, I have, but it's things we brought up before. So I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy. I finally got around to playing it. I haven't got that far into it because, like everyone else that's played it, I have just been walking around Hogwarts looking at things.
It's good,
I love
isn't
that it's so good, and I love that everything's just—it's like the Hogwarts that you see in the films, but more so. And it's oh my god, it's so stunningly beautiful. Also, a bit more of a challenge than I was expecting. Like the combat is a little bit more tricky than I was expecting it to be. A nice, easy one, you know. Hogwarts, it's for kids. No, not easy at all. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I've been to Hogsmeade. I've got my wand. I've been sorted. I'm in Gryffindor, obviously.
Oh god.
Just looking at all the textures and stuff, it's just so lush. I think some of the facial animations possibly not so good.
It's still my least favourite thing about gaming, facial animations. It's still a long way off.
Well, do you know what I don't understand as well? It's one of those games where, and I think it's the developers that have played games of old and don't realise that things have moved on, is that you'll see a character eating an apple, but they won't actually just be eating an apple. They'll just raise a hand to their face and go, and it'll get this, you know, they're not holding a fork or eating an apple or anything.
There'll be a bite out of it. Yeah,
there should be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my teeth sunk into that a little bit more. I mean, that said, I don't know how much I'd enjoy it if it wasn't a Hogwarts game. Like, I think the RPG element of it is maybe a little bit generic, but I don't think that's what
I got bored of it. It's not the world I got bored of. It's after about 25 hours, the missions are exactly the same.
Yeah, I think it suffers a little bit from that, but I don't think that's the reason most people are playing it. It certainly wasn't.
No, I ain't got the love for the world like everyone else has.
Yet.
So I didn't know yet. I didn't know where I was.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, ooh, and then everyone's like, it's all magical. We're in the Great Hall. At that point, I didn't know what the Great Hall was. And I was like, there's a fucking hat and it's talking to me. I had no idea.
Oh, he's such a good boy, there's a sorting hat.
And he just went, slithering!
I've also been to the cinema. I went to see D&D, which I meant to see weeks ago. And yeah, I agree with what Gadget said. It had its moments. It was more enjoyable. So the reason I didn't go and see it to begin with is I was a little bit put off with the trailers.
You hate Chris Pine.
I'm not a big Chris Pine fan, and for reasons being that his face starts too low, like he's got a bit. It's like it's kind of slid down a little bit. So
I really like him as Captain Kirk. I think he's good.
I do too.
Well, yeah, but that's got nothing to do with his face, though. But yeah, no, shame on me, really, because that's the only reason I don't like. Nothing against him, nothing against his acting ability.
He's a lovely bloke. You're a judgmental cow.
Just don't like his face. But his face wasn't too annoying, and neither was the film. I'm glad that they didn't try and.
What a review.
I know, right? Damning with faint praise.
So the trailer led me to believe that it was trying to do a sort of Marvel thing where they were using all the old 80s hits and everything, and I thought they'd kind of shoehorn that into it a little bit too much, and it didn't at all. Yep. I was expecting that to be, you know, Led Zeppelin or something wanged straight into there.
No immigrant song at all?
No. Nope.
I don't believe you.
It was a pleasant surprise.
All orchestral soundtrack.
It did have a couple of laugh out loud moments as well, which I think especially Gadget mentioned that they did get out of certain situations the way a party actually would when you know there's no real life consequences.
Yeah.
Well, like feign death.
No, like jumping out of a tower, clinging onto a bird person rather than walking out.
Oh, well, yeah, makes sense.
I also still love that character is called Jonathan, as if it's like a dungeon master's had to think of a dungeon masters have to think of a name at the very last second. Like, Jonathan.
I thought it was just Jonathan.
No, it's Jonathan.
I like that. That's funny.
Did you like the practical effects throughout it? Like all the suits and the masks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did really enjoy it. It definitely had some laugh out loud moments as well, especially when they were interrogating certain. There was a scene in a graveyard.
Oh, I love that scene.
That I particularly enjoyed.
Gadget told me about that one. It made me want to watch the film.
Yeah.
Did you like the chunky dragon?
Oh, I love him so much. That little
The chunky dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so chunky.
He's a chunky dragon.
He's a genuine dragon in D&D lore as well, but he's fucking fat, and he just kind of slides on his belly with his mouth open down a hill towards the party.
I like that his attack was a kind of roll.
Yeah.
A roll down onto them. But there's loads of D&D lore into it. There's loads of D&D monsters and stuff that aren't...
Did you do? Hey! Did you know stuff? Did you do that?
I was doing that.
I was trying not to, because I didn't want to annoy my friend. But yeah, there were moments. I didn't see enough Eldritch Blasting, though.
No, there weren't any warlocks in it, that's why.
No Eldritch Blasts. But there were a pleasing amount of D&D monsters in the background. And stuff that isn't too in your face as well. Like, you'll just see it in the scene and there won't be, and this is this. Players will recognise, wink at camera.
And here is the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, it's in there. It's not explained. If you don't know what it is in D&D, it doesn't matter. You'll just enjoy it for what it is. If you do know what it is, it's a nice little Easter egg.
There's also lots of hidden stuff that like I've only realised like thinking back on it or like seeing stuff talked about on Reddit. Like, when they're in the arena and it's like that big maze that's coming up and down. 5x5 squares. It's a battle map.
Is it?
No
Oh, that's
way.
cool.
There was a lovely
I do want to see this
scene as
film,
well.
but it's not on. It's not on at my mate's cinema, so can't get in for free.
Oh.
Was there any Dragonborn monks kicking ass like they always?
No, because they don't exist.
There was quite a few Dragonborns, but no monks.
Because monks is the worst class.
Be quiet.
I did my research.
Oh, and Hugh Grant.
He's
My
so
God.
good.
So good. He
Boris
was
Johnson.
the highlight, I think. He was Boris Johnson. Absolutely.
I fucking
chewing the
love Hugh
scenery.
Grant. Unashamedly love him.
Yeah.
More so now. More so
Yes.
now
Did you
than
see-
the fops that he used to play.
Did you see him destroying the archfiend? What's his name? James Corden. He destroyed him the other day.
No.
We were
did
doing
not
an
see that.
interview with him. And do you know how James Corden does this thing where they eat testicles on a table? Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
And Hugh Grant's saying he's just not humouring him at all. I loved it. It's like, I clearly don't. And Chris Pine's there doing the American, I've got to like everyone. But Hugh Grant's like, I can't fucking stand you, mate. And it's so good. I'm like, yes, Hugh Grant. Get that man a knighthood. He's a treasure. He's an absolute treasure.
Oh, actually, no, I have seen a clip of that because James Corden does his impression of Hugh Grant, and it's the
he's just like
the fop
shy.
and dandy thing, and Hugh Grant is just staring through him. It's great.
Yeah, he does not like him at all. It's so fucking good. Oh, I love Hugh Grant, and God, watch him in The Gentleman. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Watch him in
Such-
D&D, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
Such a good character actor.
he is.
He's so much more enjoyable now that he's getting to do the roles that he wants to play. He's not being typecast.
Yeah, he's just enjoying being weird.
Yeah.
He were weird in Cloud Atlas, but I don't recommend that film.
No.
You were very weird in that. Cool. Anything else from you?
Nope. Afraid not.
Well, fucking hell. Biggie, surely you've done loads this week.
It's been my daughter's birthday week, so I was being busy with her. But I did
gonna
take
review
it to see. I did take it to see Super Mario Brothers,
Did you?
and I agree with all the comments that everybody has also said. Great movie. She absolutely adored it, considering she doesn't know an awful lot about Mario. Whilst I'm no Mario file, if that's the right word to say.
I like it.
I did spot a few Easter eggs and things all over the place, so I thought that was pretty cool. At the beginning, I asked her which character will be her favourite, and she, of course, went for Princess Peaches. And then during the movie, she whispered to me during a fight scene, she went, "Daddy, I'm Princess Peaches, and I'm a ninja."
Oh, what an angel.
Yes.
Which she was adorable.
Peach is such a great character in that film.
She's fantastic. And
So good
I think it was really
empowerment
well
and
done.
stuff.
Really enjoyed it. And a big fan of the Jack Black song as well. I thought that was really funny.
It lives in my head rent-free.
Yeah, that song's been creeping in my brain quite a few times. I was on the toilet at work and I was like, peaches, 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 peaches. And I was like, fuck, I'm on the toilet.
And just to ruin it for you, because I ruined it for Candy the other day, it's exactly the same chord progression as Never Going to Give You Up. You've all been rickrolled by Jack Black.
He did it deliberately. Because I said to Stig the other week, I said, I'm going to learn that on piano for you. And I got the music sheets up and I went, hang on, I know this. It is Never Gonna Give You Up. That's the whole thing. It's just slowed down.
Yeah.
I thought, fucking Jack Black, you little genius.
But I also watched something that Candy recommended a long time ago, and I finally got round to it, which was Yellow Jackets.
Oh.
And I've watched season 1.
Oh, nice.
Really, really enjoyed it. Really like it. Really cool. Agree with all the comments that Candy mentioned before. And it's a weird one as well, because they were clearly planning for a second season, because you don't find out really still quite what happened by the end of season 1, which I thought was a bit annoying. But season 2 is currently showing now, so I'm going to have to start watching that. But,
I think there's maybe 3 or 4 episodes of maybe 3, I think, of season 2 out. So I'm waiting.
It's on now, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's on Paramount Plus now.
No, I mean it's on now.
Oh, it's on currently. Yeah.
Not Now TV.
The first season is on Now TV.
Right now.
Because
they're releasing every Friday a new episode. So yeah,
I watched first episode after Candy spoke to us about it. But it was when everything was coming out, when Yellow Jackets came out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Everything, Succession, Yellow Jackets, literally every fucking thing was coming out, and it's like, where do you look? And then we had Ted Lasso and all the fucking hell. And now I'm thinking, I've got a tiny little bit of a lull now. I could get into Yellow Jackets.
Watch the first season, and then by the time you finish that, the second season. Well, probably not actually. You'll watch it in a day.
Yeah, probably.
But it goes Lord of the Flies so quick.
And that's literally one of my favourite books fucking ever. I fucking love Lord of the Flies.
I think my only real criticism is a weird one, is Juliette Lewis in it, because her character doesn't quite mimic the teenage version of her quite as much. But I like Juliette Lewis's character when she's older as well. But it just, when you look at the characters and how they kind of resemble the younger versions of how they acted and stuff, Juliette Lewis doesn't quite, for me, mimic the
Juliette
same person.
Lewis can do no wrong. You need to lay off her, mate.
Her performance is fantastic in the show.
I think maybe she's seen some shit since the first season 2 where adulthood.
Potentially.
But it's interesting how they're going to do it, seeing as you know the fates of most of the characters. So they're going to have to keep it spicy in the meantime.
Well, we did with Lost, but it turns out everything you know is incorrect.
I mean, it does have a somewhat Lost vibes as well to it.
It does.
Yeah. Remember when Lost used to be good?
Mm.
Good.
Basically the first or second season, that was it.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
That was like one of the first really bingeable TV shows, wasn't it? The
first one I ever sat down and literally watched every week.
Yeah, I think it's the
when
first...
did it come? What year did it come out? Lost.
God, early 2000s, wasn't it?
2002, 2003, something like that.
So I was only a kid. I know some of you guys were like full-grown adults by that point, but I weren't.
Yes,
I was a child.
You were a fucking teenager at the time.
Child.
Teenager.
You tell me a teenager's not a child.
Am I right in remembering that when they made Lost... when they made Lost, didn't they just sort of make it up as it went along? They didn't actually...
Oh, yeah.
Have it all.
The
show was such a success.
Not having a plan.
Yeah.
That's
his thing.
So weird, that show.
Mm. Is that your week then?
That's it, mate.
Fantastico gadget.
So I've been carrying on with Succession. Now towards the end of season 2, it's all
still good.
Very, very, very good.
Excellent.
Kieran Culkin's character is still my favourite in it. In fact, Oodles, with your little goatee, you look a little bit like him.
Give up. Am I older than him? Am I older than him?
No, he's older than you.
Oh, all right. I look like him then. Handsome bastards, all of us.
I've been playing a bit more of Dredge. Kind of enjoying it. I'm kind of at the point now where I've seen a lot of the gameplay loop, and it's kind of, I think it's expended its enjoyment for me. Not that I think it's bad in any way, shape, or form, but it's just like when you start getting out to the other islands, and you've got like a particular monster puzzle, and then you've got to do a thing, and then get back to the middle, and it's just like, yeah, okay. I've enjoyed like the 7
I've
hours.
noticed this with you before, though. You're quite one of those particular gamers where only a certain few actually stick and last the whole lot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That and it's not. I don't think you're like throwing them away, washing them away. You're one of them people that like with backlog. You're just like, if I don't like it anymore, I'm not forcing myself. Because some people force themselves, don't they, to finish something, and then they detest it by the end.
Yeah, I'm very much. I will play a game until I don't enjoy it anymore. And when I don't enjoy it anymore, that means I've got my enjoyment of the game.
Yeah, exactly. You've got your worth out of it, which I kind of respect it.
But I do say I do think it's a very good game.
Yes,
and I think people should still play it and give it a try. I don't think there's anything. There is not a thing bad about the game. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's
not the game. It's you.
Yeah, it ran the course. It's not you. It's me. But I guess the main thing I'll talk about is I've been reading a book, and this is a non-fiction book.
Oh, this is a first.
No, it's fucking not. I've read non-fiction books before. How dare you, little shit?
This is first one ever.
The book is called Shareware Heroes by Richard Moss. This is going to get fucking nerdy, mates. So
is this like Napster shit?
No. Earlier than that.
Oh.
So this was Shareware was a particular form of distribution of software and video games, like in the late 80s, early 90s, where people would basically give away the software, and at the start have like a splash screen which would say, if you enjoyed using this software, please send $10 to me as a thank you or whatever, but you can use it for free. And software would spread like that. And the book is basically charting the history of that. Because it got to the point where like Doom, for instance, was a Shareware game. With Doom's in 3 episodes. They gave out the first episode for free, encouraged people to pirate it, copy it, send it to their mates, all that kind of thing.
Yep.
But if you wanted chapters 2 and 3, you had to buy it, and you had like an encryption code and stuff like that. And this book talks about that, and it gets in touch with people. There was a huge Shareware distribution hub down the road from me in North Shields. I didn't know that. I learned that one.
Oh.
Very weird when I'm like opening it, and it's got like screenshots from like some of these software on there, and it's like showing the address to write to, and it starts with NE29. I'm like, hang on, that's up here.
I didn't know there was a North Shield. I know there was a South Shield. I didn't know there was a North one.
Did the existence of a South not imply a North?
No, just some like it's just some
West
places.
Yorkshire, North Yorkshire, East Riding.
South of France.
He's doing East Hampton as well as like Northampton and Southampton.
It floated off into the sea.
Probably. I just didn't know there were enough shields, but thank you for the education.
But yeah, so the author Richard Moss, he's he's an award-winning journalist who's kind of is an Australian fella, but he's based most of his career around tech and video games and stuff like that. Worked for like PC Gamer, Polygon, Rock Paper Shotgun, stuff like that. And he's done work with like Bitmap Books, which were
I've got loads of them.
Yeah,
I've got loads of them. I've got too many Bitmap books, mate. They're the only emails that I get. You know, my junk ones that I actually read. Like, ooh, what next Bitmap book's gonna turn up? I fucking love them. They smell fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really interesting little book. Just like I said, charting the history of this kind of weird little subsect of the gaming industry, which kind of cropped up around independent developers or people who didn't really work for big studios or anything like that. Just getting their software out there, and like people who then, you know, went on to become big name developers or big name distributors. Talks about the fact that a lot of people tried to get rich off this very quickly. Some did, most didn't. It's one of those things. If you've heard about it, you're too late. You know, to make money out of it. But what I'm enjoying is, like I say, almost every other page has got some screenshot for some old kind of Commodore or Apple II software on there. It's given me such a massive nostalgia buzz. It really is. And it's actually it's worth going to the website sharewareheroes.com because he's laid it out like it's an old DOS application, and like even like the cursors, like that rectangular cursor that like kind of formats the text, and it's so good. It's just reminding me of the good old days of not the good old days, because computing was really fucking difficult back then. It reminds me of my days of young computing.
Yeah, you grew up in like a computer gaming house, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I can remember, there was like Commodore 64s or Amstrad CPCs kicking about. We got our first PC when I was 6 or 7, something like that. Like they were like an old 486.
I was 18 before I even touched a PC, and you can tell. And
that's when you discovered that you could get porn on them.
Oh, it was a big day for me.
I was in a massive piracy ring Well, I wasn't part
You
of it.
still are.
Of course you are. You still are, mate. You're the fucking captain.
I gained lots of games from my Amiga back in the day.
I was in a big piracy ring. Fuck me, mate. You're Captain fucking Blackbeard.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I've been in
You're
that
always
room.
emulating.
I've been in that room. You've got a desk like Scarface's, apart from it's full of floppy disks rather than cocaine.
Oh,
Emulation's
dear,
different.
Yeah.
Is it though? Is it though?
Is
You
it?
definitely own that copy of Dizzy Egg. I'm sure you do, don't you? Not. Exactly.
But yeah, worthwhile picking up, and you can get it everywhere. You can get it in paperback or digitally or hardback or even audiobook as well.
I might read it because I've been reading some of them old tech. I was reading one on Amstrad. I read this week on Amstrad, and it was really, really fascinating. I love how Flight of Fancy, some of these suits back then used to be. They were like, "We're going to be the next Apple computer or the next Atari." It's like, you're not. You're absolutely not. I promise you now.
I mean, there were loads of the time. Like the amount of times in televisions, like tried coming back.
Yeah. It's so fucking. I like that 80s yuppie vibe where they're all like, everything's going to be amazing. We're all going to be millionaires. Like, you're not.
Oh, you'll enjoy this book then, because it's really it is actually really interesting. It's a different,
yeah, I'm into it.
It's a different take, and I think what's kind of holding me onto it as well is because I've read a lot of like books about various bits of the gaming history. Or bits of gaming history, and most of them are too broad and like don't hold your attention. They can't get detailed enough. This is a really specifically nerdy subset of the gaming industry, and it works for me. You know, it's really interesting. And Richard Moss is a great writer.
Yeah, that does make a difference though. If they know what they're writing about and they're good at the prose is good, you're all right, aren't you?
Yeah. He's also got another book that he put out a couple of years before, The Secret History of Mac Gaming. And the website for that looks like an old version of Mac OS, and that's giving me so many fucking emotional feelings right now as well. So, yeah, I'm doing well on nostalgia right now. Really doing well on nostalgia.
Awesome. Right, just me left. Guys, it's a moment the internet's been waiting for. I finished Half-Life 2.
Oh, and Stig's not here. Mm-hmm. Oh, bless you, Stig.
Finished. I've completed the computer game, Half-Life 2. Not the next volumes, the chapters or whatever they're called.
Episode 1 and 2, that's fine.
Yeah.
You would hate them anyway because they start a contiguous storyline which doesn't get finished. That would piss you off.
Oh, right.
What are you playing it on?
Laptop. Because apparently my laptop can absolutely play it to its fullest.
I mean, it's from 2004. I'd fucking hope it can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did what you said, Gadget, as well. I plugged in the DualSense and Tig mentioned it as well in the Discord. Plug it in, and do you know what? I reverted back to mouse and keyboard. It's just better. It's just better.
Oh, that's getting clipped. That's getting clipped for future use.
It just works better for that game because the crosshairs are not very good on it. I don't know if you remember.
The crosshair's fine on it. You need to be able to aim properly. That's the difference. Can't do that on a controller.
So, it's time for me to review. How old a game is it?
2004, so it's nearly 20 years old.
20-year-old game. Half-Life 2. So, I don't even have to go through the story because you all know exactly what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about Mr. Freeman. Hello, Gordon. Him. From my favourite YouTube series of all time. See, disclaimer, if you don't know, if you're new to this, I love Half-Life 1, and I always riffed upon the fact that, Half-Life 2 is overrated, Half-Life 2 is overrated, blah, blah, blah. And then these guys found out I played about 20 minutes of it, and I got destroyed.
Because you said you didn't like Half-Life 2. You said, how long you played? 20 minutes. You didn't get the fucking train station.
Yeah, I didn't. So, my first session, I got to where Raven place?
Yeah, Ravenholm.
Yeah, and I saved it there. I shouldn't have done, because when I came back, that's the best bit. That's so good.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't go to Ravenholm.
I didn't know it turned into a survival horror at all. And
it's your tutorial for the gravity gun.
Yeah. That's when everything changed in my head. Like, I was like, oh shit, yeah. And I'm a big fan of Portal as well. I saw where the physics, it's the Source engine, isn't it?
Yeah.
I saw all the physics manifesting. I saw the DNA from Valve and stuff, and I was like, and I was trying to put my head into a space that if I were in that year, do you know what I mean, to review it better.
Yeah. And
I was playing it, and I had a smile on my face the whole way through that game.
Yeah, you did.
I
Fucking excellent.
Like, even though I was playing it, trying to play it in a lens that it was old, I still hated the fact that it was loading all the time.
Yeah.
You could see when another level was going to load it. You could see it. You know what I mean? I could see, because I'd been spoilt.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully those loading screens are never in a place where it affects the action. It's usually in a corridor somewhere. And computers now are fast enough where it just comes up loading and stops. You lose a couple of frames. It's fine.
Yeah. And like I didn't like the crosshairs. I know it's only minuscule things, but the shooting, you could just blast. You didn't really have. It's not Call of Duty. It wasn't really precision, because most of the time I weren't using guns. I was flicking things at things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stig mentioned something about the car bit, and I think he means the buggy, doesn't it? That buggy.
The buggy's shite.
I didn't hate it.
The problem with
I didn't hate the boat, the hovercraft thing.
Yeah, the buggy level is just it's such a long level.
It's very long. Yeah, it is long. And you want to get back, because there's no story beats, there's no world building in those moments. It's just put in there, isn't it?
Yeah, get to the next place, shoot a load of dudes, get to the next place, shoot a load of dudes.
I get what you were trying to do. It was trying to show how far away you had to go.
I did like at the end of that level, though, going under the bridge. That was great.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And the things that it calls back to the original game with the fucking things that suck you up. Always frightening, forever frightening.
Terrifying.
Yeah, terrifying. And some of the guns that you get later on are really good. And the story coalesces into, I weren't unsatisfied, but I was like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Knowing that this episode 1 and 2, thinking, okay, let's get in. I'm not a big fan of the voice acting at this point, obviously. It's very fucking old.
It's fine.
But I get why I get why I didn't like it last time, because I remember getting to a bit where I'm in the bit I got to the original playthrough was when I'm in the place where that little crab pet turns up first time.
Oh yeah,
with a guy, and she's telling you, God, can you tell I've just played it? I don't know anyone's fucking name.
Dr. Kleiner, Alex.
Yeah, I know Alex. Yeah, and that's where I stopped, because there's a lot of chatter, isn't there? And back then I couldn't cope with a lot of chatter, but I was trying to soak it up.
Yeah.
And the arm is scary. The
Combine,
the Combine, yeah. And it reminds me of George Orwell a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of that there. It's not very subtle with it.
No, and it just coalesced into a really fantastic game. And I know people listening are waiting for me to put a score on it, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like I say,
in the realm of it is 2023 now. I think it is due a remake.
No, it's not. It needs to just stay as it is. It's fine as it is. I think.
I'm sure you can probably make it a lot better.
There's
with loads of mods and stuff.
There's loads of mods out there to pretty up the game. It doesn't need it. It's a pure game. Every level has a different mechanic that puts new things to you. You get thrown new enemies all the time. It's non-stop as well. Pace is all right, I think. It's got one of the few good sewer levels in gaming, which is the one.
Yeah,
yeah. No, I fucking love Half-Life 2. It's so good.
I still think the first one's better. I don't know. There's something about coming into work and everything fucking up. I don't know. I just really like that concept. But yeah, it's fucking good. I was wrong, weren't I?
Oh, mate, you can get that off your backlog now. Well done. It's a
done.
Good game.
I did it. I said I'd do it, and I'd done it. And then I actually watched a few makings of it, and it's very fascinating, the development of that game. It's really fascinating.
Everything Valve do is fascinating. They don't have bosses there. It's weird. They're all
I think I played
it's
the
organization.
Orange Box version. Is that the one that's got episodes 1 and 2 on it as well?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
that's the one I played.
Yeah, I honestly, I tried playing it on the pad for a little bit, and I just couldn't do it.
It's a very fast-paced game because it's based on the Quake engine, so it's feels like
and
Quake.
I played Quake on mouse and keyboard originally. You know what I mean? It's one of them. But yeah, really liked it. Again, I don't love it like everyone else does, but I played it too late, didn't I? And I can imagine if I'd really put my time into it back then, I would have loved it. But I still think the first is the masterpiece, and this is the follow-up to the masterpiece.
Yeah,
if you get me.
So it's still got my favorite quote in gaming in the intro. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world.
Yes, yeah, I like that. That's really. There's a lot of good dialogue bits in this. A lot of, especially the G-man, whatever he's called.
Yeah, that is literally what he's called, the G-man.
Yeah. He's you can see the Matrix influence there, can't you? But yeah. It's good.
Although the G-Man was in the first one, and that came out
which is before the Matrix. Yeah. Maybe they copied him.
Remind me of the YouTube series that you liked, because I've watched a bit of that and I forgot about. I forgot it existed.
Hello, morning, Gordon. Hello, Gordon. I forgot what it's called, but it's so fucking good.
What is
it? I'll find it for you, but it's oh god, and it takes all doctors' women. They're trying to get out of. Trying to get out of the fucking Aperture Science or whatever it's called, that place. Black Mesa. Trying to get out of Black Mesa, and it's so fucking funny. Oh, have you seen it, Gadget, that one?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's very funny.
And they end up in that fucking Zen realm or whatever it's called. It's so funny. It's so fucking good. Oh, guys, yeah, you need to watch it. I'll find it. I'll put it in his Discord. Stig will know it. Stig will probably got it saved to his fucking favourites. He loves it as well. But yeah, if you've not played Half-Life 2, guys, play it. It's good. Never thought you'd hear that coming from my mouth, did you?
PC game?
Kind of want to play Half-Life Alyx now, though.
VR as well. Fucking hell. Come up here and visit, and you can play it online.
Yes! I will. I'll
go to Stig can play it on his.
Oh, wow. We'll just meet up in a field and play it. Excellent. Let's get on to the main topic. Now we're going to discuss things that should have died or are still going now and still should have died. A nice cathartic rant about things that we've put. And again, guys, listeners, everyone. This is
solitary listener.
This is subjective. This is all a subjective thing. So you might love something that we're telling that we want to die and stuff like that. So don't come at us unless it's constructive criticism. So, Gadget, what do you want to see dead?
The fucking Simpsons. Fucking sick of it.
That's on my list too.
32 seasons
I had that written down.
Yeah.
32 seasons in The Simpsons have been going. It hasn't been good since season 9, I want to say.
Can you remember, right? Back in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
You made a conscious effort to make sure you were there to watch the next episode of Simpsons. I have not sat down and watched an episode of Simpsons in about 15 years. That breaks my heart because I adored The Simpsons.
I watch The Simpsons all the time, but I watch the early seasons on Disney+.
The good ones. Yeah, I do. I watch the good ones.
Absolutely fuck the digital transfer on it. I don't know how they've managed it, but it looks atrocious.
I watched some of it, and they're like missing like gags in the background and stuff.
Well, they're missing background gags because they've made it widescreen, but just by cropping the image.
Yeah.
But then also like the character outlines are there twice, and all the colours are off. Like they're more green than yellow in some scenes.
I mean, it didn't look great in the first place. Some of those olden seasons.
Yeah, but like the DVD prints are more fine.
Yeah, I what I do nowadays, I just watch compilation clips on YouTube of best Simpsons bits. It does it for me.
Yeah. The problem with The Simpsons in its current state is one, it's not very funny, but it's because they don't have any of the original showrunners or writing cast there. It's flogging a dead horse. The problem is none of the characters represent what they originally did, and it's weird that because this show coined the phrase as well. They've all become Flanderized, where if you don't know what Flanderization is, it's where basically a character over time gets boiled down to its base components, and the media theory was based on Ned Flanders, because Ned Flanders was their friendly neighbor who happened to be religious, and after about 10 seasons, he was a fucking zealot who. Like the time he makes a film about God, and it's like literal interpretation of the Bible with all the murder and stuff like that, and it's kind of fucking scary.
He was always in shape, though, wasn't he? Good shape.
Oh, he's always jacked. It's all that clean living and stuffing down the impulses.
Stupid, sexy Flanders.
Yeah, so the characters also became self-aware. So the whole original concept with The Simpsons was it was just simply supposed to be an animated family sitcom. That was its remit. But it was supposed to be not like the Cosbys or not like the Waltons or whatever. It was supposed to be a little bit more realistic to what families were, which is chaotic and messy and,
dysfunctional.
Dysfunctional. People can
Shithead
be dicks
kids.
to it. Shit, but ultimately they loved each other and they learned a lesson every episode. But the whole point is that, Homer was always supposed to be this kind of a bit dull, but ultimately a decent guy. But if you watch later seasons now, he's very aware that he has plot armor, that he can do whatever he wants.
He's a clown, isn't he?
He's a clown, but he's horrible to people. He's
very abusive to Marge.
Yeah, absolutely horrible to Marge. And Marge is just this kind of this subservient Handmaid's Tale kind of woman around him, just cleaning up his messes.
She should have divorced him years ago. It's such a toxic relationship. She did try to. Yeah, she did.
And it really fucks me off that it's still going just simply because it makes Fox money.
Surely it can't make nowhere near as much money as it used to do, though.
I don't know.
You got the merchandise behind it as well, haven't you?
It's got to be diminishing returns on The Simpsons. It has to be.
It must be because the cast will be asking for more and more money each year as an incentive.
Well, just look how many animated shows Fox has now. You know what I mean? To make up for it.
Oh, true, yeah.
But it's got to be diminishing returns. I don't think they've hit the heights of animation budget profit since Futurama stopped.
No, I think as well. I think there is a trend as well with these animated sitcoms that were spawned from The Simpsons as well. They need to stop. Family Guy really does need to stop. So does American Dad. They're not doing anything interesting or clever with the premise. They're just doing stranger and stranger things.
I did notice with Family Guy because my wife still likes watching it. And it doesn't. Seth MacFarlane's not director, not producer, or anything. It's just created by now.
Yeah, he's literally.
It's got nothing to do with it. He just does the voice.
Yeah,
I'm sure he has some input.
He just wanders in, does a handful of voices, fucks off, does a lot of whiskey and cocaine.
Yeah, enjoys his cash.
Yeah.
I think the trouble with The Simpsons is it's an American institution at this point, isn't it?
It can't be stopped, can it?
That's the thing as well. When it gets to the point where it's been running for so long that people have grown up with and pointed out the racist stereotypes in The Simpsons 20 odd years after they're created. The whole kind of controversy around Apu and the fact that he was voiced by a white guy, but also that he was a negative stereotype of Indian people at a time when there was very rarely an Indian person on the TV. And the fact that he was able to that ran for so long that people who were upset about it as kids grew up and gained voices to tell them to stop doing it. That should be a sign to say, yeah, okay, this thing was spawned in the 80s. It were a different time. You can't keep reinventing The Simpsons to match the modern thing. Bart Simpson's been fucking 10 years old for 32 years now. And there have been so many episodes which contradict the previous lore and established canon of where their lives have been. Bart.
It's fucked up that he's I think Bart Simpson. How old are you, Big? If you don't mind me, he's older than you, isn't he?
I'm 49.
Oh, he's not far off then.
Well, but yeah,
if he was to age in real life, when he started, he was 10 years old in 86, was it?
88. Bart Simpson will be 43 years old now.
He's older than most of us. You know what I mean? Homer would be dead.
Probably. Oh, should be dead. There have been a handful of clever episodes outside of the core 9 seasons, but when you look at the quality of those ones, when you look at Homer going to work for Hank Scorpio or fucking Marge versus the monorail.
I think I know it's a cliche, but I think
I
think Marge versus the monorail is probably the best episode they've done.
It's one of the finest episodes of anything ever made.
I know it's cliche to fuck and everyone says it, but I've watched that episode 900 times and you never get bored of it. I think that's pure art, that episode.
Oh, yeah. I always sing along to the song.
Yeah. It's sensational.
And it's also
And we've got an ending song now for the podcast.
Yes. Also, just this kind of constant run of just celebrities who just turn up, say a couple of lines, and fuck off. Like, I always liked how in the earlier seasons how they did guest stars. Had Dustin Hoffman come on as a character, had Michael Jackson come on as a character, even though he wasn't credited.
Yes, it was just their voices, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Rather than, hey, look, here's Green Day.
Yeah, like Steve Martin's cameo in when Homer becomes the fucking garbage man. That was great.
Yeah.
That entire episode was fucking brilliant, and that role he played was so Steve Martin, but it was just so good. And like, it's apples to oranges now. Like, say the amount of times that Homer is just awful to people, the amount of times they should have gotten killed, or the amount of international incidents that have occurred as a result of The Simpsons. And I think it's just one of those things that it feels like it's hollow now. Like the concept of the show is a very 90s concept, and it should have stayed in the 90s.
I can honestly say, hand on heart, I have not watched an episode of The Simpsons at all since my kids have been alive, and that's 10 years. Minimum. I don't even know what channel it's on anymore.
I think it's still on Sky One, but it's
It used to be BBC Two, didn't it?
Yeah, but now it's just Disney Plus. Like, they're all on Disney Plus. You can go right back to the beginning on it.
I don't. It's such a. This is the one that I put on my list. It's really heartbreaking, isn't it?
It's sad, yeah, because like I said,
imagine having the fondness to it, like we do with Seinfeld and Frasier and stuff that ended and knew when to end. And I know things are coming back, but that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Imagine if it had that. I think it. Like, we all love Futurama, and it's ended.
It's coming back again.
I don't know a single human being that doesn't love Futurama.
Futurama's great.
Yeah, and it could, because it ended. Pound for pound, it's better than The Simpsons in my head because it ended.
Oh yeah, because the quality is consistently higher over the 7 seasons they had.
Exactly.
And yeah, The Simpsons should have. I think maybe at the most they could have stretched to maybe 12 or 13 seasons.
Yeah,
and ended it. Yeah, like you just can't keep doing this same comedy where they're the same age over and over again. Even just by the virtue of the amount of episodes there are, they should have all aged up at least a year. You know.
You know what? As an aside of that, I've just looked up the ages of Marge and Homer, and I'm older than both of them. That's fucking depressing.
Yeah. I'm older than both of them.
It's a good one though, mate. Any more on your end?
I've got some which I'll bring up in the green room later.
Cool. I've got a few controversial ones. This is going to sound strange, but I've come at this differently. I've got a few that are obvious, like The Simpsons was an obvious one. Then I've got a few that are like things that I love as well, but I still think they should go.
Gundam?
For reasons, and I'll get into it. Gundam should never end. That's different, mate. First one's Tetris.
Oh, do you know what I thought about that too?
So the only reason I've put this is because I think the original Tetris, the Game Boy Tetris, is still the best version of Tetris.
I will go to bat for Tetris Effect on VR though. That's fucking incredible.
See, I've not experienced that, and I like Tetris Effect as a game that I play on the PlayStation, but I still always go back to playing the original style of just Tetris. It's like perfecting something that was already perfect. It's just playing on a name. Do you know what I mean? I love the story of Tetris, and we recently watched the film as well, and we're all into what Tetris is and what Tetris can do. But when they're doing Puyo Puyo Tetris and they're doing Tetris this, Tetris that, I'm like, the original's still the best. It's still the one that I think competitive Tetris players play, the original one. I think it is.
No. It tends to be Puyo Puyo Tetris. But there's different categories for it.
Yeah.
There's just like Tetris Tournament Edition and stuff like that.
Tetris Tournament Edition, yeah. I think it should. Have you recently? I've played a ROM. I played a ROM of the original Tetris this week to think about this. It's still fantastic.
Yeah, it's still a banger.
I love it.
It's still got the best original music. I mean, that music does get on your tits after about 10 minutes.
No, never will.
It's also not original. It's a Russian folk piece.
Yeah, but it's just, I think the speed of the original one and the recognition and the pattern randomizer is I just think it's a series that I don't think it needed expanding. It could have just. Do you know what I mean? But they're gonna. Obviously, I'm not stupid. I know how money works, believe it or not, and I know they need to flog it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. But yeah, Tetris the first one. The second one is Indiana Jones. That should have ended.
I'm covering that.
Yeah.
I've got that.
Yeah. If you're going to cover that in more detail, I'll let you, mate. Yeah. But yeah, that should have ended after the third one. Another one that's now something that Stig mentioned resonated within me, and the more I think about it, the more he is probably right. Now, this is going to sound strange because it's a series with a game that I'm so hyped for this year, and that's Final Fantasy. So let me speak on this. The only reason why I think it should end is because the core series of Final Fantasy, the numbered ones, they're all absolute bangers. And there's not that, there's 16 when that comes out. That's not massive in comparison to some other franchises.
Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest, we're running on at 11th. But if we're talking about the expansion, the spin-offs, and it dilutes, do you know what I mean? It dilutes the power of the original, like, for Biggie, like, he adores Final Fantasy VII. You think of the extended world of Final Fantasy VII.
Wait, are you telling me that Dirge of Cerberus is not an essential game?
I'm telling you that. It just dilutes the quality of something that you hold sacred and it's beloved. Do you know what I mean? Like, why can't 16 when it comes out be the last one? Why can't it be? Obviously, I know why.
Fair point.
We all know why, because of money, and brand recognition. Yeah. But you think back to all the core ones. I think Stig's right what he said to me over there. Get rid of them. Because if you counted any game that says Final Fantasy in it, they've done more shit ones than good ones.
Mm.
Yeah.
But if you look at the core series, there's only like 2 that are shit.
Yeah.
Out of 16. Well, we don't know how 16's going to be yet, but it's looking pretty fucking good.
Mm.
Did you watch the
yeah.
PlayStation?
Eventually, I buckled in like Gadget Thomas to watch it.
Yeah.
Shit. It looks really good.
It's got Finchy from The Office in it.
Yeah, it's got Finchy from The Office.
I'm certainly more
The
invested
Witch.
now.
Yeah, it's just. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it should have just.
Yeah.
It should have just been killed. Like, kill it.
Mm.
I think it lost a lot of its magic once they got voice acting in as well. A lot of the magic disappeared. I still love 10 and I love 12, but
I mean,
out of all the ones that have...
They did have a bad habit of getting really bad English voice actors.
Yeah, terrible. And it's just better when you just
Tidus
read
especially. The actor's not very good at Tidus.
No, it's not very good. And I don't know, it's just one of those series that I adore and I love. But yeah, it probably should have died a long time ago. It's called Final, for fuck's sake.
It's a funny thing, isn't it? Because the Final Fantasy element is literally just the label. It could be.
Yeah.
It could just be.
It could
called
be any game, couldn't it?
Square Enix 16.
Yes.
You know.
See, this is another reason why I thought this as well. If they'd stopped and having the pressure of having, because the Final Fantasy ones, they're like 7-year-long games that it takes them 7 years to make because of the pressure. Same with Dragon Quest.
You've got to get it right.
They've got to get it right, or else they're going to get destroyed. They don't want another 13 on their hands. Nobody needs that.
Nobody wants
because the backlash that they got from that, and the backlash that they got quite a bit from 8, and backlash they got from 2, that kind of thing. They know what it's like to have a bit of a failure. They still sell, but you still want critical darlings, don't you? If they just didn't have to have the Final Fantasy moniker, and they made other games like Octopath Traveler or Triangle Strategy, different games that they're still very similar, but they're not, because they're not under that umbrella. They can try different things. Chrono Trigger, for instance, is probably the number 1 JRPG of all time in the hearts of most people that are into that genre. It's not a Final Fantasy game. You know what I mean? When they're allowed to step out of that little niche, that little name, I think that's when you can flourish. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I think it probably should die after the 16th one. Let him do something else. There's some people that have been working on that since 1987. Do you know what I mean?
The problem is, though, if it's as good as it sounds, 16, then it's not, is it? It's going to continue. There's going to be, I'm sure, another one.
Yep. Yep. And
That don't.
the last one I've brought is, and this is not so much because I'm an expert on it at all, but the MCU.
That's on my list too.
Yeah.
And that's because I am an expert on the source material. I'm not an expert on the films. I mean, Stig's way more, like, he knows who made them and he knows who directed them and stuff like that. But the source material of the MCU is sacred to my heart. It's what I grew up with. They're my Bibles and stuff like that. And now it's got to the point where they're ruining it. And I didn't think they ever would. They're making me sad. They're making me a bit pissed off. And I'm turning into that guy that's like, you know what I mean? That's not my Marvel. That's not my Marvel. And I don't want to be that person. So before I turn into that person, kicking off all the time, kill it.
I mean, they should have killed it when they were doing the special effects previews for MODOK.
Mate.
I've seen this. I've seen the screenshots of him.
That face. Like, imagine a world
like
we live in now.
Snapchat filter.
Oh, it looked terrible. Imagine a world we live in now where imagine this, that the MCU ended on Endgame. The natural ending.
It would have been
the natural ending.
It would have been a perfect. It would have been able to sling box sets of the Infinity Saga for years to come.
Yep, it'd have been a moment in history.
Everyone would have a coaster with Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah, remember when you were there for the Infinity Saga?
Yeah.
Remember when you were there? Oh God, I remember when I was there. And then just you can still have Marvel properties as films. I'm not saying end that, but end the continuity that we've got because it's too big. It's too big for anyone.
It's a bit convoluted now, isn't it?
I bet Kevin Feige's like, what have I done? I should have just stopped. And let.
No, he's wiping his tears with money, like Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, of course he is. But we've lived in a world where there's multiple Marvel properties that are not connected.
No.
And they've been fine. Blade 2, Deadpool. Do you know what I mean? They weren't connected. Or X-Men 2. No. I'm talking about...
More
these weren't connected. No. Spider-Man 2.
The Sonyverse.
You know what I mean? But this is what I mean. These can exist outside that sphere. But now even like Spider-Man 2's connected now, isn't it? They're all connected now.
Yeah, the problem is they kind of shouldn't. They need to kind of get the rights back off Sony and unify everything and actually, make it make sense.
I think they should have like 5 years off completely.
They're not going to do that. It's Disney.
I know they're not. But this is what I mean. The shows are really good, but the shows seem to be more on their own. They're their own thing. And that's where it's good. When it's its own thing, it's its own story to tell. Hawkeye, right? The show Hawkeye, I know most of you have not seen it, but the show Hawkeye could have been its own thing. It could have just been Jeremy Renner, Dad. You know what I mean? It could have been the program, and it was still sensational. It's just attached to the MCU because of things, obviously. But
the next MCU series is the Marvels, isn't it? And that connects back into the main story.
Yes. I just think it's just if we can't kill it, let's put it into a coma for a bit. Do you know what I mean? Let's put it into a chemically induced coma.
Fair enough.
And let us get back to it eventually. But yeah, that's me ranting over and done with. Candy, what you got?
Well, actually, I've got kind of a list as long as my arm here, and they sort of range from the really obvious ones to the ones you've already covered to the ones I've tried to be a little bit, maybe a bit more controversial about. So I'll go through the ones that I've got. So the obvious ones: Jurassic Park, Transformers, The Simpsons, Walking Dead universe, Indiana Jones we mentioned. So I think the ones I talk about the one that I've brought that is a little bit, I don't know if I'm going to be a bit premature in this. I think possibly I'm right. I think The Witcher is something that needs to be killed. The TV series, not the games, not the books. I think given the way that things are going in terms of Henry Cavill leaving potentially under the reasons for it being that they're not sticking to the source material. And
because he was pissed off at what the direction.
Supposedly, and the writers supposedly coming out and say they just don't care about the source material as well. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. But I think maybe the way it was going in the second series just tend to suggest that is the truth.
He also thought it was going to be Superman again.
Yeah, well, there is that as well.
That backfired.
Yeah, but I think that's something that we may see shit the bed in the next series, and also given that we've lost Henry. I think maybe it would be a good opportunity to kill it after season 3. For me, season 2 lacked everything that I liked about season 1. And I know a lot of people preferred season 2 because it was more. It was
like the books.
It was point A to point B. And what I enjoyed about the first one, it wasn't necessarily the time jumps and stuff, because it took me a while to realize what was happening, like most other people.
Yeah.
I liked the monster of the week thing. I liked the banter between Garel and Yaskia. I really liked the kind of lightheartedness, and that seemed to...
Like the dragon episode.
That wasn't so good. But
I liked it.
The Last Wish episode was excellent.
Yeah, I think it's the best episode they've done.
But yeah, really enjoyed the first season. The second season, it seemed to... It lost a bit of that spark, I thought, and it leaned too heavily into the history of the elves. And
so do the books, don't they, Gadget? Blood of Elves.
Yeah, they also strayed far too far. Like the way they dealt with... They killed off Eskel. That, like, Eskel does not die like that.
Yeah.
No.
And not for another 4 books.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I just think potentially the way it's been going, and they've also put so many eggs. Netflix have put so many eggs into that basket. They've done spin-offs and everything, none of which have been particularly successful. Certainly, I mean, the anime was okay, but certainly, what was the last one? That series they did?
The Vesemir one. Oh no, the elf one, wasn't it?
Yeah, the one went back when the
lowest rated Netflix show that they've done. Yes.
Which could have been so cool, like what it was dealing with, the conjunction could have. I watched the first episode;
amazing. It was fucking shite.
Yeah. So given the way that's going, Blood Origin, thank you.
Blood Oranges.
Right. Blood Oranges. I think that's something that we're going to need to see killed before it gets too far. And given that Netflix is quite predisposed to cancelling things, also it's a fantasy show; it can't be cheap to produce. Like there's a lot of effects that go. So I wouldn't be surprised if that does get killed.
I read this article over there. It was called "Stranger Things as Netflix," as if that they're just riding on Stranger Things and hoping that something becomes the next Stranger Things, because that's where they make the money from, that show.
Well, and that's a pretty good segue, because Stranger Things is another one, and I know that it's...
They will never let it die, mate. They can't.
It's ending after the next season, as far as I know, but that's not to say that they won't do 100 spin-offs, and I'm sure that they probably will.
They will. They'll do one in modern day. They'll do one in olden times. It's Netflix's bread and butter at the moment. Well, I love Stranger Things.
Let's not
I don't
forget
want it to be destroyed.
Let's not forget that there was the cursed episode of Elle going off to New York or wherever it was and finding all the other numbers.
When she gets emoed up.
Yeah, so I mean, that's another avenue they could go down for a spin-off as well.
Awful.
But I think...
There is a spin-off in the works, and there is also a stage play titled Stranger Things The First Shadow, which is set to open in London's West End this November.
Can't wait.
And that will make money too. That will make me go. I'm not averse to that though. I think I prefer a stage show.
Running up that road. Running up that
road. Everyone sing along.
No, don't sing along. They don't like that.
No, they don't do that. You're right. Not allowed to anymore.
No, don't sing along at musicals.
Shut the fuck up. But I think had they taken away that weird Russian part of the last season, which I don't think contributed much at all, other than to keep the adults still involved. I think
you could still see your dad.
It's just I think they could have. They should have ended it on the last season. I think it was a really nice kind of crescendo into the end of it. There were some amazing visual effects, and it really seems like it could have come to a really good end. And I don't think that this next series is going to compare.
The problem is though, Candy, the last season that's just been on was their record-breaking season.
Yeah, but is the next season? It doesn't matter. Is the next season going to be better? I heard it short. I already heard it shorter.
Yes, yeah. There's long episodes rather than loads of episodes.
What's the big bad going to be though? Because
it's still same one, still the same guy.
Still Vecna, is it?
Yeah.
I thought they were hinting at it being that red dragon. What's it called? The D&D dragon. Three-headed. Is it a three-headed?
Tiamat.
Yeah, I think they hinted.
They have mentioned Tiamat a few times, haven't they? But Vecna's still alive.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
And I don't want I mean, everyone loves Vecna, though, don't they? So
Yeah.
we'll probably see him again.
He's got a long arm. He's got a really long arm and a normal arm. I don't know where his long arm came from. But Gadget, you've not seen All Strange Things, have you? The origin of Vecna would make you scream at the telly.
I assume it's got nothing to do with the way he comes about in D&D.
No, I didn't fuck. It's not even Vecna. He doesn't even name himself Vecna. They just call him Vecna because they're into D&D.
Yeah, well, like the Demogorgon in the first season, the Mind Flayer and all that. Like,
it's not
got nothing
real.
to do with the actual monsters in D&D.
It's just what they call them. Yeah.
What else have I got?
Any more, Candy?
Yeah, I have got a few. Final Fantasy. Yeah, for me, I was going to go general Final Fantasy, but Final Fantasy 7 in particular. I think
the extended universe of Final
it's
Fantasy
become its
7.
own franchise itself. That one game.
Don't they call it the compendium of Final Fantasy 7 or something along those lines?
They just fucking put adjectives on the end of Final Fantasy just regardless.
Remember the Fabula Nova Crystallis of Final Fantasy 13?
And actually, Kingdom Hearts as well.
Fuck that! I hate them games. They're shite.
I was going to bring that up in the green room. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts.
I think that the shite.
Just Kingdom Hearts, just for the titling of the games.
Oh my god, that's mental.
I've got the Wikipedia up here. So
365 over 7 days, or that whatever it's called.
So I'm just going to read through. There's 13 Kingdom Hearts games. Okay,
God,
so from the first one to the most recent one, Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2, Chain of Memories, Coded, 358/2 days, Birth by Sleep, Recoded, Dream Drop Distance, 1.5 remix, Cross, not X, Cross, it does specify that, 2.5 remix, Unchained/Union/Cross, 2.8 final chapter prologue, Kingdom Hearts 3, Dark Road, Melody of Memory, and then the next one to come out is called Missing Link, and then Kingdom Hearts 4.
It's fantastic. That,
and they're all across.
They're shit.
It's one story that goes from the first game to the most recent, and they're all on different systems.
They're all on different, and they're all essential to play. They're all essential to understand what the story is.
Haley Joel Osment just being him from the beginning to the end. Speaking of those names, though, have you seen the name of the Nier remake that came out on PS4?
Well, Nier Replicant 1. Yeah,
it just keeps going up.
It does mean something towards one of the characters, I'm sure it is.
It's probably a Fibonacci sequence or something along those lines, isn't it? Or pi.
When you mention Final Fantasy VII, like the remake, I mean, what is even happening with that at this point?
Well,
the new one's out next year.
Have they?
They've said there's going to be 3, haven't they? So the next one's Rebirth, and then the next one's something we don't know yet.
But they are genuinely they are remakes in everything. Even they are completely. They're not.
They've
they're
just
not
taken
remakes
the characters
people,
and put them somewhere different.
Exactly, they're completely different stories. It's a completely different game.
People wanted a remake of Final Fantasy VII, and I don't think that
they didn't get one. They didn't get one.
When we found out that it was going to be in chapters, I think people well, that sucks, but I kind of understand because it was such a big game. And now
it's not even that though. It's not the same game.
No, that's it. I think people have come to realise now that it's not the same game. It's a retelling. It's going back and potentially changing.
It's a sequel.
It's a sequel. All we wanted was a remake. All we wanted was our kids or our younger siblings, nieces, nephews to experience the magic that we played when we were kids, but with new graphics and new gameplay.
Instead, they let Nomura from Kingdom Hearts run it.
And it's going.
That's why you got. That's why you got what you got, guys. You deserved it. You deserved it. You let Nomura do it. You let him do it.
That's like Brexit all over again, isn't it? We wanted a remake. What did you want in the remake? We wanted a remake. We don't know.
We want get Sakaguchi back.
Yeah, he was never going to come back.
No, was it fuck? He said join retirement. Woo, with them pina coladas, isn't he, on the beach? Having the best time ever. But yeah, that series needs to die.
It needs to die. It's not what...
Remember when they did a film? Final Fantasy VII film?
Advent Children.
Oh, it was shite.
With the 3 mini Sephiroths.
Oh God!
I mean, like 17, 18-year-old me, however old I was when it came out, I loved the mini Sephiroths. Being a girl,
Bet you
being a
did.
woo girl, but
It
did not add to the story.
I think I would have bullied 18-year-old you.
Oh, you would
I
have.
would have.
Deservedly so. Deservedly so.
I would have convinced 18-year-old you that yes, you're not that good looking. Be my girlfriend.
Exactly.
Oh, negative.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah. Well, that would have been no. You don't look like Mini Sephiroth.
Aw.
What else we got? Oh, I've got. Oh, it's a bit. Well, Gadget might not like me for this one. I'll do it anyway. We've got time. Stig's not here. Mythic Quest.
No, fine. I didn't like that. Didn't like season 3. I fell off it
I've
after
only
2
seen the
episodes.
first season.
Yeah, I
saw
fell
the
off.
first season. I liked it.
First season, great. It set up. It was a comedy set in a game. The gaming development universe. It had that beautiful episode that saw how the company was set up with
Yeah,
the
I
two
love that episode.
characters.
That's the best one.
It's the
episode
best
I've
one. And actually, there was an episode, I think, they tried to do it in the second season where it was, I can't remember the character's name now, the writer, the older guy.
CW.
They tried to do that with him, and it was okay, but it wasn't quite to the same effect. And there was another one in season 3 that went back and actually.
I didn't know there was a season 3. I didn't know.
Yeah,
It's not worth watching.
No, I fell off it like maybe 2 episodes in. I think the problem I got with it, I think you had the same problem, Candy. Is like it stopped being about the game development and started being more about the interpersonal relationship.
Does it still show you clips of Ubisoft games?
No, different games now.
They do still talk about talking to Montreal, don't they? They say,
Yeah.
"Oh, Montreal's calling," it's Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Because they used to keep showing clips of Assassin's Creed, didn't they?
No, it was For Honor.
For Honor, that's the one. Yeah.
But yeah, like, they started making like weird things, like this whole idea that like Poppy was supposed to be this like John Carmack style developer, which is fine. But in like the first couple of episodes of the 3rd season, she sat in an office by herself. Says, "I've completely rewritten this game and made it exactly what I want it to be." It's like, no, it doesn't fucking work like that. Even fucking.
I don't think it works like that.
No, John Carmack still needed people around him. He's still a fucking genius, but he still needed people to help him make the game engines. He never made them by himself. And stuff like that. It just it got to the point
It takes
where
you out of it.
Well, it takes me out of it as a techie person who knows how to code, but also it's just really unbelievable. And but and then there's also the fact that it really puts like software developers in a bad light because there's so much attention put on Poppy. She's a fucking slob. She sits and she's got like snacks all over her desk and like and stuff like that. It's possibly something I'm just especially sensitive to. But it plays on that stereotype of software developers that they're antisocial, slovenly.
You're all that guy from South Park.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
You are.
And for me, it just became so generic. Losing what essentially made it interesting to me. It's just become a workplace comedy now. It could be set anywhere.
Yeah.
Just watch The Office instead. It's better.
You could. Yeah, you could.
First season
Which
of
should
Mythic
have
Quest,
ended early.
First season of Mythic Quest was a banger, though. It was a really good first season.
I liked
the two subsequent sort of lockdown episodes. Was it 2 episodes or 1? I can't remember now. But they
it
did
was
two
just-
kind of mid-season.
It was just the one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they were great
they
too.
did a lockdown episode, then they did an unlocking episode where they all went back to the office. That was it.
Yeah. But yeah,
the
anything after
lockdown
season
episode
1.
especially was fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah,
If you
it
want
was.
your Rob McElhenney fix, just watch Always Sunny or Welcome to Wrexham. The better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed on those.
There you go.
Yeah.
Any more, Candy? Or do you want to save some
I'll
for
save the rest for the
greenest
room.
of rooms?
Yes.
Cool. Biggie, you've been here before media existed.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is close to my heart because I grew up with the Indiana Jones films like you guys
I
did.
thought
but
you were
I was
going to say
different
like
age when they came
hammer and
out,
chisel.
but, after having the almost perfect introduction with the legendary romp Raiders,
Yes.
then Spielberg followed that up with Temple of Doom, whilst problematic in places.
It wasn't then, though, was it?
No, I generally still loved it. I thought Short Round was a brilliant addition.
And Willie?
Yeah, she was fantastic in that, to be fair.
Yeah, she's great.
But yeah, it was probably the least liked out of the trilogy. But then the director finished it off, in my eyes, perfectly with The Last Crusade, which not only introduced us to a young Indy with the lovable River Phoenix, but then we meet Indy's father, brilliantly played by Sean Connery, of course.
It's my
And
favourite
then-
one.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick between sort of Raiders and Last Crusade. I love one more than the other one day, and then flip.
I don't know. There's something about Last Crusade that I like the romp more. I like the meeting with the Nazis. I like Nazis. Obviously, there's Nazis in the first one, but there's more Nazis in that. I don't like Nazis. I mean, I like that the Nazis are in them. I absolutely don't like Nazis. No, don't do it. No, you know what I mean?
So many things to sample from this episode.
I like the romp of Last Crusade. I like when his dad's there with the umbrella, with the birds.
Yeah, the banter between Sean Connery and Harrison Ford is just fantastic, and their characters is really well done. And then, of course, we had and then we had the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles as well, which a lot of people don't really remember. And then
I knew it existed, but I never watched it.
Almost 20 years later, we get Indy 4. And
I didn't know.
I just
don't
understand what happened there. I mean, Harrison Ford at this point is, or even Indiana Jones' character is about 58. You've got the romp, like you said, the romp is the biggest thing for me because that's what all the three films basically are.
Yeah,
they've got that really old sort of TV serial kind of action and adventure and pulp. Yeah, pulp's perfect. And then you get this really weird, convoluted alien. Are they aliens? Maybe they're not. They're architects.
Extra-dimensional beings.
It's just such a mess, and you've got sort of the ridiculous fridge scene that everybody knows, but you've got the sort of this awful nuclear blast showing off, the devastation that it can do, and then you get Indiana Jones like a cartoon character just stepping out the fridge last minute. It's just...
I haven't got cancer, definitely not.
I haven't had my insides plastered across this heel thing. I absolutely do love though that in Fallout New Vegas you can find that fridge.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, really?
You can.
Yeah, and you get the hat. Yeah, you get the fedora from it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, right there in the Mojave Desert.
Right there in the Mojave
waiting.
Is a skeleton with wearing that hat.
Yeah. Just hanging out of a fridge.
Yeah,
like it shouldn't have happened. The problem with I think the bigger problem with the last film was how it looks in my head. I think it looks
the CGI
shocking,
real shocking as well.
It
considering
takes you out of it.
Spielberg.
There was a real
well.
boulder on Raiders, a real fucking boulder. I know it was made of styrofoam, but it were real still.
Let's also not forget actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
he was a
he's
terrible
in there.
actor.
And he
Which
brought
they
a knife
obviously
to a
wanted to
gunfight.
try
What an
and-
idiot.
He was potentially going to pick up the reins, and I got the idea behind it because I think you could run with a sort of Indiana Jones
Was his name
story
Mutt?
in some way. Yes,
Mutt Jones. Fuck.
but he was awful.
Fuck off.
The way that Indy's portrayed by Harrison Ford in this one is just, it doesn't quite fit. He's almost become a bit of a joke of a character now.
Well, get ready. He's in the next one.
You got Ray Winston just playing this double agent, which at some point I don't even know if he knew who he was working for by that point.
I can't remember because I've only seen that film once. Was he a baddie by the end or was he a goodie by the end? I can't remember.
He was a baddie by the end.
Right, so he was definitely a baddie.
He started
because he was goodie, baddie, wasn't he, all the way through it?
No, baddie, goodie.
Oh, fucking, I can't remember.
Yeah,
I've only seen it once.
He starts off as an antagonist.
Honest to God, what a stupid film.
And that's the thing, because you have almost like this perfect trilogy where it should have ended.
Perfect.
And then you had that, and now, of course, topically, the Indy 5 is due out soon, and I've seen both trailers now. And the first one I was kind of, and I will admit, the new trailer has raised my expectation a little bit.
It looks like Crystal Skulls again.
But I'm still really concerned. And I'm
looks exactly
a little
the
bit concerned that there's going to be a lot of action in this, with Indy basically being close to 78 or something. Yeah, it's just, how is it going to work? I just don't.
Is it set during the Cold War or something?
It's set during the 60s, yeah.
The Russians then. Oh, they're buggers, them Russians. Oh.
Also, it's called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. What a shit title.
Yeah, sounds like the pick of destiny.
Sounds like he's ringing up a tip line for a for a game.
Yeah, mate. Everyone's like, and I get it. It's nice to be positive. Everyone's like, it's going to be good. This one's going to be good. It's not. It's going to be Crystal Skulls all over again.
Well, we get to find out on the 30th of June when it's out.
I am not rushing out day one for that.
Yeah, I'm not cinema in that.
Unless a review pops up saying he's back. This is the one.
You see, when I think about other people who could play Indiana Jones, like now, if they decide to do like a reboot, you could probably pick a handful of names out of the hat that could probably pull it off. I thought Bradley Cooper at one point would have been quite good.
It'd be Chris Pratt, wouldn't it?
No, they were talking about Boyd Holbrook for a long time, weren't they?
Boyd Holbrook is in this one.
Yeah, I know. He's in this one, but he was supposed to be like because he's playing Mutt now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is a lot better than actual. I thought he is, isn't he?
Kleber.
Oh, right, but yeah, Boyd Holbrook would have been a better in because he had a look of like River Phoenix, younger, blonde. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had that look. But then again, who played? I'm trying to think now. Who played Han Solo in the Han Solo film?
That's Chris Pine.
Shite, I can never remember his name.
Chris Pine. No, it was someone else. Some randomer. Can't he play Indiana Jones?
Alden Ehrenreich. Ehrenreich?
Can he play it? Did people like Han Solo? I can't remember.
It was middling.
Right. Yeah.
I've only seen it once. I can't remember if people liked it. Rogue One were better. But yeah, he should. Why can't he do it?
I know Candy will be there day one because Mads is in it.
Yeah, maybe not day one. But...
Is Mads going to be a baddie?
Of course he is.
Well, his
look of a Nazi.
His character's called Jürgen Voller, so yeah.
Baddie.
Baddie. Instant baddie. that's a baddie name, that one.
He's going to get the dial, and the dial's going to kill him when he kills it. And
as long as the plot isn't too convoluted, you just still get the action romps, which is obviously going to be played by loads of stuntmen to Harrison Ford to be running around. That's what worries me, I think, is where's the action going to be?
Well, this is just me spitballing here, and this might be entirely wrong, but for a film called The Dial of Destiny, and the fact I'm looking at the cast list now, one of the characters in it is called Pontimus. I think we're time traveling.
Yeah, definitely.
Which means it's going to be another crystal fucking skull.
Because apparently they de-aged Harrison Ford in scenes for this as well, haven't they?
They've had to. He's fucking decrepit. Telling you, that man's
right.
gone.
There's going to be some scenes in the past with him, so yeah, I think you're not.
Do you know, I was talking to my mum about this other day because she really loves Indiana Jones. She says, "Do you know we put your her grandma? We put her in a home when she was like 61. Harrison Ford's what? How old is he? He should have been in a home years ago. In a home, fucking hell.
It's fine. He just sits on his porch and gets stoned all day.
What a life.
Smoking a bowl.
Yeah.
Smoking a bowl.
Callista Flockhart brings him sandwiches.
Are you still with her?
Yeah. Been married for about 25 years now.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I remember them being married for a long time. Oh, that's beautiful. Get off my plane. Yeah. God, fucking Indiana Jones, mate. Should kill it. Kill it.
Yeah.
Any more? I'm going to save some.
I've saved mine for later.
Excellent. Have we got any correspondence?
We have quite a lot of correspondence.
Fucking hell, you should have warned me.
People love to hate.
People love to hate. I also feel like there has been a concerted effort to upset Oodles here.
Yeah, probably.
So we're going to start with the franchise savior, staying anonymous. Mm-hmm. My submission for a franchise that should have ended ages ago is none other than Final Fantasy. I mean, be honest, when was the last time you were genuinely excited about a title from this franchise? Plus, most Final Fantasy games have nothing in common except battle mechanics, spells, and enemies. By ending the franchise, Square Enix could challenge themselves to do an entirely new kind of game. Or maybe give us the Chrono Trigger remake players have been waiting for.
Let me just tell this to the listener. I don't read the feedback, but that's basically what I've just fucking said.
That sounds like deadbeat punk to me. That's got punk stink all over it.
If it is,
he's been banging on about Chrono Trigger for ages.
No, because he's bang on. He's absolutely banging. I don't like admitting that he's right. He is absolutely on the number with that. He's bang on. Let them challenge themselves. Get fucking Chrono Trigger. I'm playing that at the moment on PC.
I thought that's what you were playing.
Yeah.
Tiggs followed up with that. Says, it's come to my attention this week's subject is that a franchise should be drowned in a melange of rotten eggs. May I suggest the rotting badger cadaver that is the Final Fantasy series of video games be nominated for this Room 101 of unflushable turds? I do like it when he writes, and he's very linguistic.
Do you know what? I like how they've probably put all this in to upset me, but I'm agreeing with them. It's weird, isn't it?
He
Sorry, lads, you didn't get your catharsis from it.
He goes on to say, nothing is more tedious than a fan of the series spamming their nerd forum of choice with their belief that these games are indeed the greatest of all times, while slowly rubbing themselves against a soiled Tifa Lockhart body pillow and shuddering.
No,
Surely 15
they're not the best
mainline
series.
games and various spin-offs is enough, but no, Square are at it again with Final Fantasy 16. No doubt another dull affair with a batshit story made for the kind of cellar dwellers who think Chocobo racing should be on Eurosport. Actually, to be fair, I would quite like to see Chocobos on Eurosport.
I would
Yeah,
like to see
do
that.
As long as they don't have the
It's not
music.
the best series. It's not the best series. That's resolved for Resident Evil and Metal Gear. There, but you probably don't even like them either.
So
don't like them.
the hair replacing Badger himself, Stig, has come in with, hello, my gorgeous friends. Apologies for missing this week, but I had a place to be with sun to soak and booze to drink, and hair to be
Must
plugged.
nice.
Yeah, he's getting his hair plugged.
For this week's topic, the long-standing franchise that I think needs to be taken out back and shot is none other than Final Fantasy. I mean, come on, how many times do we have to get a Final Fantasy? He can't spell that, lad.
He never has been able to.
But he has changed taxes. Now that I have your attention and I've thoroughly wound up oodles, are you thoroughly wound?
How good are these lads that tried to attack me?
You've ruined
But
the day.
I was the one. I agree with them massively. I like challenge, and these companies should be challenged, not just have some money.
So
It should be challenged.
he goes on to say, my real answer is Jurassic Park /World. What started out as an all-time classic and the greatest film ever to feature dinosaurs has since turned into a homogenized paint-by-numbers action blockbusters with terrible and forgettable characters, ridiculous set pieces, and things that make no sense or are dumb as fuck. Jurassic Park was exciting and groundbreaking with unforgivable set pieces, characters, and the use of real dinosaurs to wow the audience. Now they rely on genetically modified hybrid super dinosaurs that turn invisible or smile. Yes, the Indoraptor really does smile. I'm sure all of us can remember the first time we saw that T-Rex pull down the fence, step out and roar. It was phenomenal. Does anyone remember or care about the first time they saw Indominus Rex?
I don't know what that is.
It was hiding.
Yeah. Now, many people think the first film is the only good one, and I can see why they'd think that, but I do have a sweet spot for The Lost World. I agree with Stig on that one, actually. It's got some really great set pieces in it, and I admire its ending with trying to do something a little different. 3 is rubbish, but at least they used a real dinosaur with the Spinosaurus as the main antagonist. I also
It's not real, Stig.
What's he saying?
The Spinosaurus is actually a dinosaur.
They're all for the first trilogy. They're all based on real dinosaurs.
I did like the pterodactyl enclosure as well. That was kind of tense.
The best bit of 2 is when it actually kicks off and they go into the compound and the raptors and
Oh yeah.
the cornfield and stuff.
So he's going to say, after a massive hiatus, they eventually returned to the universe with Jurassic World, a film I liked at the time, but I think I was caught up in the nostalgia because on reflection,
Shite.
I think it's pretty average. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Then we all know my disdain for Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. My rants have been loud and lengthy on the podcast on how fucking shite those films are. Even bringing back the original trio of Grant, Sattler and Malcolm couldn't save Dominion from the bin fire it was. How do you fuck up big budget films about dinosaurs so much? Just get a good script and a competent director and you can recreate the magic once again, because at the end of the day, dinosaurs are cool and it's a license for printing money. However, I have no faith in Warner Brothers to ever do this again, so they can just bin off the franchise forever as far as I'm concerned. Steven Spielberg made the perfect dinosaur film that will never be topped, so just let it go forever. P.S. Raptors are not friendly! What the fuck was all that about?
It's like Steven Spielberg knows how to start. Like, he made the best shark film, the best alien friend film, the best dinosaur film, the best concentration camp film. Don't copy him! Just leave it at that. Leave it at that. But yeah, fuck that. Not that we're getting Schindler's List 2 anytime soon.
No, my concept for that was rejected.
Yeah, I mean, I'm into it, mate. I'm into it.
That F King guy just says the MCU. Agreed.
Yeah.
Hard agree.
Again, massively agree. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm ruining everyone's day by agreeing with all this. I think they want me to go, no! I'm sorry, especially if you pay for this.
Lee Davies has said, can I say Elton John? He should have stopped after Lion King.
He's on his farewell tour as we speak.
I'll add that I love Elton John up to the mid-70s. Fair enough, that was when he was
Please tell
good.
me you've seen that. Have you seen
I liked
that
Elton John when he were on
YouTube clip?
coke.
Have you seen that YouTube clip of him? Where he's performing, someone's put the lyrics underneath.
Dabbing.
It's so bad.
Robotic Monkey says, can I poke my head around the door and just say anything with or about James Corden? Can we just pretend that he was a fever dream and never talk about or mention him ever again? Either way, I'm sure he's probably done some good or funny things in his career. Nope. But regardless, I just want to throw a blanket over him and never hear any mention of him again.
I don't think James Corden's done anything good in his career. Not anything, any of his output I've liked. People say, "Oh, you'd like Gavin and Stacey." I bet I wouldn't.
Oh, Gavin and Stacey's shite.
I can bet you I wouldn't. I can absolutely guarantee I wouldn't like it.
I hated Gavin and Stacey.
Fuck.
Uh,
Fuck it, man.
Xenos has said Fast and Furious might have peaked a few films in, but it seems like it's just going downhill now. The Alien franchise definitely had more problems the longer it's continued. Prey has shown the...
Isn't it weird? Is it weird with Alien? There's more worse films than good films. More bad films
I'd
than
say
good
there's only
films.
2 good films.
There's only 2 good films. It's such a shame, innit, when you think about the
Yeah.
the same with Die Hard.
Well,
There's like 3 good films out of it. Is it 6 Die Hards now? I don't know. Is it 5 Die Hards? Oh, so at least there's more. There's 3 good ones and then 2 shit ones.
So, but another one where the numbers in the wrong order. Prey has shown that the Predators still have some good left in them, but there doesn't seem to be much of a recent Alien equivalent, and it might just take too much effort to pull it back now. What else? All the sports games that come out every year, maybe at least cut them back to every 2 or 3 years. And although he's not a franchise, Vince McMahon, man needs to fucking stop.
Yeah. I'm sure we'd get loads of talk about this if someone else wasn't in Turkey getting his hair plugged right now.
Cult Connections has just said, the Tories. Hard agree.
I preferred the original Tories from back in the day, World War I Tories. I'm joking. I'm trying to make a joke, but it doesn't matter. I don't know anything about the Tories. I just know that I'm going to say it. Cunts.
Hey!
Hey.
You said it for the year. Ring the bell, everybody.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding.
Super Natty Cat has sloughed onto the internet to say, 1, Bleach, the anime, should have ended a long time before it actually did. It's a banger anime, but only if it had simply cut the amount of filler episodes, I would have loved it more. To be fair, that's a cheat answer because it's now actually finished.
I've
2,
never watched it.
ongoing series that needs to die a death, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And this is all in capital letters, but I'm not shouting it. Nobody cares. You all earn too much money. It's all fake. Your lips are fake and you pretend they're not. Your makeup is overpriced.
Is this the Kim Kardashian thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that an actual series then? Like a drama? Is it a drama or like a documentary thing?
No, it's one of those kind of
like
dramatized...
Desperate Housewives. Not Desperate Housewives, Real Housewives, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not
manufactured
kind of
reality.
fake, but not. Yeah, manufactured. That's the word I'm looking
like
for.
Like a scripted fly on the wall type thing.
And that's just about Kardashians.
It's just about their family.
Yep.
I remember her first show she did when she sucked that bloke's dick.
Reggie.
That were a good one. That
was going down on the Kardashians.
That were a good episode. That was my favourite one they've done.
That was
Have you heard of
released by her
Run's
mum.
House?
That was released by her mum.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very supportive mother. Very supportive mother.
Very.
Have you heard of Run's House?
Run's house, as in Reverend Run.
Yeah.
Run DMC. Yeah.
No,
The show with them in their household. It's
no,
mental.
I haven't. I haven't heard of it. But that sounds like
exactly the same thing.
these are all copying the original, the Osbournes, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
That's not starting
Yeah.
it. But the
And
Osbournes were
like the
endearing.
Simple Life and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just all those kind of
they were-
early 2000s MTV shows.
Fuck that, man. Fuck that. Kardashians. Who can relate to that when they're billionaires?
Oh,
Oh
nobody-
God,
Exactly.
I'm just like Kim Kardashian, guys. Why? I don't know. I'm just like her. What? No, you're not. No, you're not. Fucking joke, man. I
I mean,
don't even
this
know
is
what channel it's on. I don't even know what channel it's on.
This-
What
I
channel
mean-
is it on?
Disney Plus, I think.
Oh God, everything's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. I mean, remember, this is the woman who, when asked to give a feminist quote, just says, women just need to get off their fucking asses and fucking work. Nobody
And suck
likes to
some
work
dick.
anymore. It's just like, you don't actually work.
Didn't they get famous because the dad was the lawyer for O.J. Simpson?
Yes.
Brilliant! What a way into the world.
Well, that's how they got rich. Rob Kardashian
Yeah.
was very rich. Then, I think if I remember it rightly, there was a divorce, and then Kim Kardashian's mum married Bruce Jenner, who has now become Caitlyn Jenner, who's become the most hated trans woman in the world. because she hates other trans women.
And Caitlyn Jenner was the athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so confusing. I don't know who's who. I don't know.
I wouldn't get too bothered by it.
I've seen pictures of them all. They all look identical. They're like clones.
They're all plastic, man. There's more plastic in
I'm
them
not
than the
bothered about
Atlantic
that.
Ocean.
I've got nothing against body modification and stuff. I can't tell them apart. You could line them all up in front of me, and I wouldn't know which one to shoot first.
I've got things against body modification when they do it and their target audience is young women.
I know what you mean.
And like 1 month they're doing the big arse thing, the next month they're doing the heroin chic thing, and it's really fucking.
I like the big
women.
ass thing.
No, but what I'm saying is they keep changing their body type because of fashion, and it's fucking up women who idolize them.
Like body dysmorphic and stuff like that. Yeah. I know what you mean. But
So
I know fuck all about them.
put them in the fucking fire. Fucking can't stand them. Anyway, moving on. Angry Kurt says, my main choice would be Star Wars and the MCU, as both these seem to be being run into the ground with only the odd spark of quality, which doesn't make up for the overall decline in quality.
He's bang on.
Something which I think is also going this way is Harry Potter. We had the books and the films based on those books, which did a pretty good job overall. But since then, we've had 3 further films, a stage show, and now we're set to have another TV show based on the books. There's no need for it.
Mm-hmm.
It really is just a case of money. Was anyone really calling out for a TV show on the books? It's not something I've ever heard, as everyone seemed pretty pleased with what we have, and it's not like Star Wars, where you can continue the story. It was all wrapped up in the books. I'm sure it'll get lots of viewers, but I'm not sure it'll bring in a new audience, unlike something like The Last of Us. You either like Harry Potter and know about it, or you don't. And Stig actually had a response from this one. Says, yes, I read the feedback from my holiday, and I'm someone that's always said Harry Potter TV show would be better than the films, because the films from the 4th start to leave out loads and add in fluff that isn't in the book, and end up leaving loads of important stuff out because of it. I've seen comments online about how a TV show would be good, but I do think they definitely could have waited longer than a decade to reboot it. I think that's probably also the key point. It's only been 10 years.
Yeah. It's absolutely like with Lord of the Rings. I know it's a strange one to think of, but with Lord of the Rings, the original like cartoon films, was it like fucking 15, 20 years before Peter Jackson decided to?
No, it was longer than that. That animated film
That's
was
the 70s, wasn't it?
70s, yeah, it was like 30 years.
Yeah. Before anyone decided, yeah, come on then, let's because there was a little TV show. There was a load of radio dramas and stuff, wasn't there? But never that. Yeah, I think waiting on something. Same with June, isn't it?
Yeah.
June's a good example of it. Wait
Wait till you can do it properly.
Let it simmer. Let it. Stig might be right. I don't. Again, I'm very new to the world of Harry Potter.
Well, the thing is, when you get further into the Harry Potter films, well, you will see the amount of budget that they throw at them. Like they are like special effects workhorses. Those films.
I've still only seen as I've recorded now. I've still only seen the first one. I'm watching the second one tomorrow.
Nimrod Hicks is going to finish us off here with Dear Must End. The franchise that clearly needs the cow gun is obviously modern escapism. It started off great with a variety of hosts and interesting content, then soon descended into a drudgery of 4 boring voices prattling on about crisps and video games. I mean, for fuck's sake, video games. Are you fucking children? Then, after realising your format was tired as fuck, you get in a woman to shake things up. A woman, for crying out loud. Absolute woke nonsense gone mad. Pathetic. And what the fuck is that sheep bullshit? D&D is for nerd wankers with your stupid weird dice and imaginary elf bullshit. You wouldn't catch me doing that shit. Then these shameful attempts to flog a dead horse with Deep Fucking Lounge or whatever it's called and smash that glass bollocks. More woke wank. I'm cancelling my Biggie bundle as we speak. As always, love you. Never change. Nimrod Hicks.
I agree with him. I preferred it when everyone else hosted. That was good times. I could have weeks off. It was so good.
I stopped listening ages ago.
I don't listen to any of them, so I'm not a listener. I think it's shite.
Well, that's how you feel. I'm going to stop editing it then.
Oh no,
mate! You could have stopped editing years ago. Wouldn't have known. Oh God! But yeah, he's right. This is the final episode of Modern Escapism. Next week it'll be Escapism Modern. We're just switching it around. Is that all the feedback we've got?
It is all the feedback. It was a good feedback week.
It's a good feedback week, and the week that Stig was off. Getting his hair plugged. As always, links to all our extracurricular activities are in the show notes and at modernescapism.co.uk. Please consider becoming a patron to get access to all our shows, ad-free, early and extra exclusive access to our green room and shows like Too Faff Too Curious and Kenny Potter coming very soon. It's coming in a matter of weeks, Kenny Potter. Next week, it's that time of the month again. Patron's choice.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was your period.
I'm constant. I've had a period for the last 10 years.
You should go to the doctors about
that. I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
Depends why you're so pale.
It bleeds, we can kill it.
Patron's choice next week. Make sure you're a patron. You know when we're going to give you that vote. If you're not a patron, imagine being executive producers of a complete show. Imagine the power that you've got. Imagine that. Imagine it. We don't know what we're putting on yet, but there'll be some choices to pick, and it'll be to do with death and taxes. I can promise you that much. But for anyone that isn't a patron, this is where we cowgun you. So I'd like you all to line up in a row, get on your knees, and we're just gonna back of your head. This has been a podcast. If you are a patron, we'll see you in the green room. Bye.
Bye. How'd you break your foot, Candy?
I dropped a massive
book.
My foot it currently looks like a beluga whale.
See, this is why reading is bad for you.
It is.